Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's about as hard a hit as I've seen Stassi deliver in an NHL game. Now it'll change. Nashville's going to catch him. It's O'Reilly. He's behind the D. Feeds it over. Evangelista in front. Score!
They've now hit for that bucket 2 of the last 10. Kamara denies this one off the window. Up top, there he is, Avi on the scoop right above the rim. Sharp does the rest. Bridges continuing to show up night in, night out. Hart steps back, late clock. For three. The Knicks can't miss.
Braves on the counter. Why not? Rewards your big at both ends. Owen Freeman to the wing. Zugic at the hot hand early. Dix does it on the glass. He spits it out to the shooter. Isaac Trout for 3.
Super excited to be back at Pinnacle Bank Arena tomorrow to take on a tough Bradley team and just keep working on sharpening some things up for our group. Our outstanding sports information department has informed me that we're one of 7 schools in the country with undefeated men's and women's basketball teams right now. It feels good, and we want to do our part to stay that way.
Good morning. Welcome in Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, Rico?
Yeller.
How we doing?
Fantabulous. I'm doing pretty darn good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. We're doing okay. I can only hear you out of one ear right now, so I'm not loving that.
Hey, same. It's okay.
So that's not ideal.
We'll be okay.
Probably.
We'll figure it out
in
the break.
Or we won't, and nothing will ever work.
You'll be okay. I believe in you.
Is that not clicking in? What do we got here?
No,
did somebody break this? Oh, I love that when that happens. That's my favorite. Good job, guys.
You'll be okay.
Don't
blame the people.
I mean, I have to blame someone.
Well, blame yourself.
It didn't break on its own.
Blame you.
It was working yesterday. Who was in here last night?
I don't know.
All right. Well,
me.
That's fun.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't.
It's fine. I mean, one of my earphones doesn't work. The internet doesn't work. It's fine. It's all good. It's all fine. It's all good. It's National. It's National Signing Day. That's exciting.
Fine. Everything's fine.
It's less exciting for some Nebraska fans because it's a smaller class.
Oh, calm down.
I said some Nebraska fans. I'm fine.
I know. It's guys. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Nebraska's about to sign their first non-legacy 5-star out of high school, I think in 20 years.
Let me check.
I believe it is in 20 years. Because I think Marlon Lucky was a 5-star. Was Baker Steinkuhler a 5-star?
Yes.
I believe it depends on the service,
Okay,
but I
hold
believe he was.
He was a 4. So I'm just gonna go off of 24/7 Sports. They've had 4 5-stars. Chris Septak.
That's in like 98, right?
Yeah. Well, class of 2000.
Okay.
Torrey Pittman's a 5-star currently.
Okay.
Dylan Raiola, Marlon Lucky.
Okay.
So first since 2005, because they haven't had any 5-stars since then.
Besides Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 20 years.
Yeah. And then Trey Taylor's probably going to be a 5-star.
He should be. Trey Taylor's definitely a 5-star.
He is currently. So, I mean, look, for all of the hand-wringing and consternation through everything, and I understand it for this season and how it ended, they have, for next year's class, I understand this year people are upset. Next year's class, you have your 3rd highest recruit ever in Torrey Pittman and your 8th highest recruit ever in Trey Taylor, currently, who is a 4-star, who will be moved up to a 5-star.
Yeah, so you're probably looking at 2 of your top 5 highest commitments ever.
Yes.
In the 2027 class.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean...
Things are trending upward in the recruiting rankings.
Yes.
On the field, things did trend upward, and then it took a sharp decline at the end of the season.
Big picture, they have improved by a game every year.
Yes. I saw somebody put by the year 2030, they'll be 12-0 and national champions.
Let's do it.
If they keep improving by 1 game every year.
I'm in.
I mean, would you look?
I would take it.
If you're a Nebraska fan, Nebraska improves by 1 game every single year. You okay with that?
I'll be honest, I'll take it.
I'm gonna be mad.
I would take it. I'm just saying.
If every year you win 1 more game than you won the previous year,
I would take it.
I wouldn't be mad at that. Like, I'd be slightly upset. It'd be one of those where you're just like, you should win more. But
I'll take it.
I'm just saying, if they won,
are you sure?
if they win 8 next year and then 9 the next year, I'll just believe this is a thing that's happening.
Like, it just has to happen.
So I'll be
It
like,
has to.
let's go. I can't wait.
What's the schedule in 2030? Schedule talk. You want to talk about not want to talk about the next season? Let's talk about 2030.
2030 talk. Here we go.
This is important.
Let's do it.
The people are asking. The people aren't asking. The
Yeah,
people should be asking.
they could be. They might be.
Are the people asking? People, are you asking?
Well, maybe.
I mean, maybe.
Let's it's better than being Penn State right now.
Yeah, Penn State.
How many commits does Penn State have? Can you look it up real quick?
Ooh, yeah, give me one.
Or are you working on a lower third? I can look it up.
I can look it up. I can
Okay.
look it up. Give me a second.
Because I actually already know the answer. I just want you to find out in real time.
Ooh,
How many commits and where are they ranked?
recruit rankings. Okay, Penn State. No, not all time. I need this year's. Oh, maybe it'll have it.
You might be a worse Googler than I am.
I'm not.
Your case isn't great this morning.
I'm usually really good at this. So, I mean, they're ranked 19th.
That's 2025, bud.
Oh.
Hey,
Oh.
that's the sequence.
Years are hard. Oh, they're ranked 131st. Holy shamoly. They have 4 commits. Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to those guys for sticking around. Granted, 3 of them are from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, 131st
But
in the country.
hold on.
At least.
Hold on. At least 3 of the 4 are nationally ranked 4 stars. You have the 104th player in a safety, Matt Sieg. Terry Wiggins, the 120th ranked player. He's a linebacker. And then Jackson Ford, who is the 240th player. He's an edge rusher.
So there's a rumor. There's a rumor that none of those guys are actually going to sign with Penn State. I don't know if it's true or not.
I mean, they haven't, and it's already 8 o'clock East Coast time.
So I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a rumor that no one is signing with Penn State today.
That, I'm going to be honest with you, would be hilarious.
It also makes sense. They don't have a head coach.
They don't, because they tried signing.
They struck out on Kalani Sitake.
They tried. So no matter what you want to say about Matt Rhule and Penn State, like that, I feel like they tried. Penn State tried.
Yes.
Nebraska countered. Penn State tried with any. I'm gonna say this right like this. Any coach that got an extension, Penn State reached out to them.
Yeah,
That's kind of my guess.
probably.
Penn State or LSU or any of the other schools reached out to them. They were told no. Those schools extended them. And then they reached out to Kalani Sitake. That one seemed like it actually had legs.
Yeah, it seemed like it was going to happen.
And then Crumble Cookie and Marriott Hotels were like,
Yeah. And there's a nutrition guy, too. There's a supplement guy that was like, here's a check. You wouldn't believe.
Can you imagine being a like blue blood college football program?
And you got thwarted by Crumble Cookie?
By cookies.
Like hotel magnate? Okay, I get it.
Understandable.
The
but
Crumble Cookie guy?
The Crumble Cookie guy said, not today, Steve. We're not doing this.
So
No.
here is a abridged version of the Penn State coaching search via Liam Blutman. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, here's the version that I believe is accurate. Obviously, they're not going to confirm interest in everybody, but I believe this is accurate. Pat Kraft, after firing James Franklin, spoke to Urban Meyer. They couldn't agree on NIL. Urban Meyer's out. Mike Elko from Texas A&M felt like they were close there, couldn't close. They spoke to, according to reports, Kurt Signetti, Matt Rhule, Marcus Freeman, Eli Drinkwitz, and Clark Lee. Struck out with all of them. They were hoping for an Iron Bowl loss for Alabama so that they could have a real shot at Kalen DeBoer. Lincoln Riley removed his name from consideration over the weekend. We just saw Kalani Sitake, and they lost Bob Chesney from JMU on the way, who I think was their like safety school.
Can you imagine getting your safety school pick yoinked by UCLA?
And to not be able to land the JMU coach at Penn State?
Also, he's good. I understand JMU had a good year. 2 years removed from Kurt Signetti. Hopefully they're not expecting Kurt Signetti because I'm going to feel real bad for this guy.
Yeah, also UCLA is, I think, actually a much worse job than Indiana.
Are you sure?
Yes.
UCLA is has had success in the past, and
UCLA is $300 million in debt.
they had success in the past, and they expect more. than what they were getting.
$300
I
million
don't know if you know that.
in debt.
I don't know if you know that.
$300 million.
That's nothing. Is that LA? Is that an LA 3 million or is that a
No,
Nebraska
no.
3 million?
300 million. 3 million, I would not be concerned.
Forgot a couple zeros. Is that a California 300 million or a Nebraska 300 million?
Here's the worst.
Because those are different.
Here's the worst part. It's an institutional 300 million. They also don't have any NIL. So they're broke twice over.
Don't they have movie stars? Who went there? Or is that
No,
just
they all go to
USC?
USC. UCLA has 0 movie stars. They're in that's a terrible job.
Who's
Kobe says he thinks it's the worst Power 4 job. I probably wouldn't argue.
I disagree.
I think that's a bad job.
I'm trying to think of somebody else, but I disagree. Give me a second.
In this landscape where having money is one of the only things that matters, they are in terrible shape.
Boston College.
Better job. Also, no expectations of Boston College.
They're 0.
Bill O'Brien just won, I think, 2 games, and they're like, yeah, we'll keep you.
Shout out to Bill O'Brien. I was going to say Rutgers, but that's the birthplace of college football. People forget.
And also, better job.
I can't think of anything else.
Travis says they wouldn't have even qualified for a subprime loan with bad credit. Yeah, like in 07, they could not have gotten a house loan.
Poor Bruins.
Literally poor Bruins. But here's the funniest part, and we'll get to UCLA in a second here. But the Penn State situation, I think, is hilarious for 2 reasons. Number one, I didn't think they should have fired James Franklin.
Absolutely not.
That was nuts.
It wasn't nuts. It was stupid.
Stupid and nuts.
It was stupid.
It was very stupid. And I think I said this at the time, and I've said this the entire time since then. Firing a guy coming off of 13 wins and a college football playoff semifinal appearance was probably not going to end up being a super inviting job for anyone else.
I don't know. Seems pretty good to me.
No.
Seems like everybody was invested.
Coaches like not being fired.
You sure about that?
Almost positive. Almost positive.
I feel like we have different worldviews.
I'm almost positive most coaches don't like being fired. Now, if I was a coach,
so much, it seems like everybody loves it.
I would love getting fired because give me that sweet, sweet buyout money.
I'm telling you, the best job in the world is to be a mediocre football coach.
Yeah.
To have 2 hot years.
Yeah.
Get hired at a big school, then be bad for 3.
Will Muschamp, living the dream.
Just saying.
Living the dream. He's been hired. Who's my boy?
Your boy. You know who your boy is.
Who?
You know who your boy is.
Who?
Had 1 hot year, actually.
Who?
Scotty.
Oh.
Your boy.
Keeps getting paid. They didn't make a bowl game. I don't know if you know that.
Not even mad at it. I thought they were going to be BYU for a hot second.
He has one season ever over 500.
Yeah, we had a good time last night.
He probably did.
Probably did.
he ain't lying.
You ain't wrong.
Oh, hey, I got my ears back.
Whoa.
I got my ears back.
I wasn't ready for that.
What happened?
That was awkward.
It's like in hindsight, didn't work.
Just truth bombs from Scott Frost.
That one needs to be in the rotation more.
To being honest, didn't work.
I could go on and on.
That man was a drop magnet. I used a lot of his
unintentional comedy goldmine.
Yeah.
Unintentional comedy goldmine. Much like this Penn State search. Because the other hilarious thing happening, and DB alluded to this yesterday, so I went on like a full deep dive on it, as I tend to do sometimes.
Yeah, you like that.
He mentioned the Jimmy Sexton of this all. He is the super agent who represents basically every good college football coach in the country.
Okay.
Including one James Franklin. Apparently, Jimmy Sexton did not like how James Franklin got at Penn State.
Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit.
Apparently, he disliked it so much that there is a pretty prevalent rumor going around there that he is totally sabotaging the Penn State coaching search. Like that he has straight up gone to war.
That's funny.
With Pat Kraft at Penn State because he is so mad.
I like that.
That James Franklin got fired. And here's
Gosh, to be a sports agent.
So here's
to be a petty sports agent.
Not just petty, but good at your job. Because it's almost impossible to get a complete Jimmy Sexton client list.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what we do know. He represents James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
He represents 16 of the 18 SEC coaches.
Damn, Jimmy's getting paid.
16 of the 18. He represents Lincoln Riley. We know that. He also represents, I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this. I believe he also represents one of the other guys. Chesney. He represents Chesney from
Kenny?
Bob. I always do want to say no, the former JMU football coach, now at UCLA.
Okay.
So there is this theory out there that Jimmy Sexton is having all of his clients lead Penn State on to get extensions at their own jobs or to get different job offers, and then leaving them at the altar at like the 11th hour every single
Penn State would catch
time.
on.
They don't have a choice, though.
God, that'd be so.
That's
so funny.
Almost every coach of consequence is represented by Jimmy Sexton.
I hope this is real.
So here's the thing: is somebody asked me yesterday over text. They go, "Why would the coaches go along with this?" And I go, "That's the easiest sell. Number one, you get a raise at your job.
Cash.
Penn State is a hard job that just fired a guy that was in the national semifinal. It's a hard job with crazy expectations, and you get a raise at your current easier job. Who says no to that? That's the easiest sell of all. But now Penn State's going to end up with some like they legitimately might end up having to keep Terry Smith. I don't know who else they're going to hire.
You know what's going to be hilarious and sad at the same time is if that works.
Maybe.
Like if he's actually like a really good coach.
He could be.
Like leads Penn State to some success.
I think Dayball might still be in the cards, but
Jimmy represent Dayball?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know for sure. But, Headley says, look at Matt Rhule. Got more NIL money, got an extension. It's a win-win. Like, that's what all these guys are getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, convincing the coaches to go along is not challenging.
It's not hard at all.
The more challenging part, like you said, is to get Penn State to keep falling for it.
Mm-hmm.
But they really don't have an option if they want a –
Because they're not going after coaches who are, like, at risk of being fired. So it's not like that. It's not like Jimmy's plan of, like, hey, let's do this, and then – you'll get a raise, and the school that they're currently at is like, oh, no, if you want to go right ahead. Like, they're not – none of these coaches are on the hot seat at their current schools.
No.
So they're all like – all the schools are like, oh, no, we want to keep them. So we'll give them an extension.
Anyone who is an upgrade over James Franklin, which is a pretty small list to start.
They're not going anywhere.
Is not just they're not going anywhere, they're represented by Jimmy Sexton.
Yep.
Almost every coach that we consider better than James Franklin is represented by this man who is – going scorched earth because you fired. Apparently, I don't know if it's just because you fired. I don't know if he has a particular affinity for
like
James Franklin,
like
or
not only client, but it's like, are they best friends?
Or like maybe he's just mean and petty for no reason. It was like, hey, that was really stupid. You're never doing this to one of my clients again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a rumor about this alleged sabotage, and this is unsubstantiated. Besides the internet, so take that for what you will.
The internet's never lied to me.
That Jimmy Sexton has told his clients, if you still want to be my clients, you will not take that job. And apparently he's sort of like done like some mafia stuff where he says, if you ever want to be one of my clients to guys that aren't his clients, you will not take that job. And apparently he's good enough at his job that that's working.
I mean, like you said, it's almost impossible to get a whole client list. He represents...
He definitely represents more than the people we know about, but the people we know about is like the murderer's row of
big boys.
Of college football coaches.
So no, I would go along with it too. Like if I'm
100%,
I'm just like I want him to be my agent at some point. I ain't taking the
if I'm not unemployed currently, I'm definitely just doing what he says.
Yeah,
because he's led my career to this point.
I mean, look what he's done for everyone else.
I know. He's like, yeah, you want paid?
You mean he can't do that for you?
You want paid? You want paid? Dope.
I want paid.
Let's do it.
If you get paid, I get paid. So,
Jimmy, if you want to take me on as a client, I promise not to take the Penn State job.
I don't think you're going to get the money you're expecting.
I won't take the Penn State job. I promise. I'm just saying. I'll be on the client list. I'm in. Let's do it.
If you do take me on, I will take the Penn State job. Because that's a worse sabotage.
You're like, you want to go? You know what he should do?
Who says no?
The best sabotage would be if he like pretends to have a truce, but he knows one of his coaches on his client list just sucks, and he's like, I will allow you to hire this person.
Here you go.
Just knowing.
That's wild that a sports agent is holding a university hostage.
He's
if all of this internet rumors are true, that is wild.
There is a lot of people that believe he is the most powerful man in college sports.
He's the who's the baseball?
He's Scott Boras.
He's the Scott Boras of college sports.
Yeah, except for way more powerful because Scott Boras. I don't think Scott Boras is as petty as this. He will just go find the biggest contract.
Scott's just trying to get money.
Yes, which is an agent, right? Like
Yeah.
that's literally their job.
Yeah.
Jimmy Sexton is standing on business, like
10 toes down. Jimmy's
which
about that life.
I absolutely love.
I'm here for it.
Like I love a petty king, and Jimmy Sexton is just going. He's going to the mattresses,
Scorched earth
for his guy James Franklin.
He's going full Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He's going full.
Tom Cruise, the agent.
Yep.
We can't repeat anything that
I'm
he said
talking
there.
scorched earth.
He can't repeat any of his lines. But this is one of my favorite.
We do not negotiate with terrorists.
Yay! This is one of my favorite college football stories we've had in some time. We haven't had just straight up, like, plausible sabotage, to my recollection. This is incredible. And I love Jimmy Sexton for it. You know what my other favorite tangential college football story is right now?
What?
Have you seen the TikToks and Instagram reels about Lane Kiffin leaving Oxford and like his hot yoga and Pilates classes?
No.
So
No.
Not what?
So like every morning he used to like take a selfie at like his hot yoga class or his
Okay.
Pilates class or whatever.
Sure.
So apparently all these like teachers of hot yoga and Pilates, instructors, whatever, and a lot of the people from the classes they're posting these TikToks that sort of become a trend of like, thank God we don't have to deal with Lane being a menace in class anymore. Like apparently he'd like go and like tip people over while they're doing like yoga and Pilates and stuff.
Honestly,
And he's like,
I would do that.
and he'd like pour water on the floor, and he'd like always complain about the music. And like,
Not even mad at it. I'm not even that's great.
listen, it's funny pranks, but the funniest part is like there's women across Oxford rejoicing that their hot yoga class is not being ruined by Lane Kiffin anymore.
Like you know what's great about that is like it's not women in Oxford complaining about him being a creep. It's women in Oxford complaining about him tipping them over in hot yoga classes.
Well, hold that thought.
Well, I don't. Okay.
Because there's a second.
Never mind.
There's a second type of woman making TikToks and Instagrams in Oxford right now, and those are the ones leaking texts and DMs from Lane Kiffin.
Damn it, Lane. Just when I was.
Now, to be fair, he was single for much of his time in Oxford, and I don't know when these came from.
Those weren't Lane. That was Joey Freshwater.
I don't know.
Totally different.
He's doing it from his verified Instagram account.
Damn it, Lane.
Like, yeah, I need you. Like, get a burner.
Damn it.
Get a burner.
Also, have you heard the Lane dog story?
No, what happened to Juice?
You're gonna be mad.
Oh, what did he do to Juice?
Apparently, Juice wasn't even his.
Oh, come on, Lane.
He just left him in Oxford.
Wow. I hope he loses every game.
I knew you'd say that.
I hope he loses every game.
It's not even his dog.
That
It's
is.
not even just left him. He's using him for clout.
Come on, man. Come on, man. We've gone too far. We've gone too far.
That's your barometer?
Yes.
That's your 1 to 10. That's your 10.
If you leave your dog, or apparently not your dog,
that's the one.
you move and you're like, see ya. You're on a private jet, man. Take the dog with you. Kirk Herbstreit does it every week.
Not his dog.
Who does the dog belong to?
Not a clue.
This is outrageous.
I thought it'd be like his daughter's dog or something. Nope,
Yeah.
Not his dog.
I feel this is fraudulent. I'm out.
Speaking of his daughter,
I'm out on Lane Kiffin.
is his daughter's boyfriend still on the team
I have no
at
idea.
LSU?
I would.
Like, is he sophomore, junior? Like, does he still have a year, whatever left?
I would cut him immediately. Be the first thing I did.
Bro, could you imagine dating your coach's daughter?
No.
And then, like, what if you break up?
Man hasn't seen playing time in a while.
This guy was a not a butt kiss. Was it a butt kiss?
I think, yeah, he's a linebacker.
He's a butt kiss award finalist. Hasn't seen the field in 3 weeks. What happened? Broke up with Lane's daughter. That'll do it. Having great practices. That scout team linebacker.
Incredible.
Great.
Incredible stuff. We will keep you updated on signing day as it rolls in here for Nebraska. Obviously, it's a small class. We'll talk about it as we get into it here. We mentioned Danny Odom as the first non-legacy 5-star in 20 years for Nebraska. They've got 2 committed, or soon to be 2 committed for next year as well. So heading in the right direction. But we'll, as those signings roll in, we'll keep you updated on those. We'll also talk to Brian CHRISTOPHERSON at 8. We'll get his thoughts on signing day and the defensive coordinator search and all that is going to entail in terms of staff changes and everything like that. I don't believe we've heard any portal news as far as I know.
I haven't seen anything yet.
And at this point, it would be indications to enter the portal, but we see that a lot.
Makes their intentions to enter the portal known.
So we'll see. I think a lot of people, myself included, expected some of that on Monday. Did not expect the defensive coordinator to get fired on Monday. I did expect some portal news. So we'll get into that and everything else with we'll get into that and everything else with Brian CHRISTOPHERSON here at 8 a.m. We'll talk to Andy KENDEIGH at 8:30. Wow. We will also who do we have at 9?
Who do we have at 9?
Yeah, who do we have at 9?
Great question.
It's Mitch Sherman. Yeah. It's a Mitch Sherman week. I forgot today was Wednesday.
How dare you forget about Mitch?
I didn't forget about Mitch Sherman. I forgot what day it was.
I'm gonna tell him.
We've got Mitch Sherman at 9, and then we'll have Robin WASHUT at 9:30 to talk about a very good Nebraska basketball team. Undefeated,
solid,
8-0 for the first time in almost 50 years. Oh, if you know that, it's pretty good.
I did not know that it was the first time.
77-78.
Wow.
I believe so. That's, what is that, 47, 48 years?
Can't even pretend to know a single thing about that team.
I'm almost certain they still played in Lincoln. That's about all I got.
You sure about that?
I said almost certain.
You sure about that one, Clark?
I'm not. It could have been a weird year. They were playing in, like, Waverly.
Why not?
You never know. Maybe they were playing in Why Not?
Did Waverly exist?
I have no idea.
I'm just
no
making
idea.
Stuff up. I'm sorry, my Waverly folks.
You're making them at night. We will talk to Robin WASHUT at 9:30 about Nebraska basketball. But let's take a quick break here, and we'll run through some of the signings for Nebraska on the other side. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I mean, that was a super fun experience just to be able to go down there, not have a ton of prep for that Virginia game, just be able to work together and get the win. It was super fun, amazing experience. Gives us a little taste of like Big Ten tournament with the back-to-back games and stuff like that, but I think we competed well down there and it was a lot of fun. Maybe a little bit. I mean, I think it's just being more aggressive and looking for my shots a little bit more, and I think my teammates are able to get me the ball in the right spots and situations to just make that happen. But yeah, just excited. I think she's playing with a lot of confidence this year, and that's super awesome to see. She's a really great player, really versatile, can play 4 or 5, guard anyone, and so I think she's become a really great leader for us too, and I think it's just super cool to see.
of Lexi Rodriguez, she's the all-time digs leader at Nebraska. Now, who did she pass?
She was a coach at, I can't remember what was it? Kayla Banworth?
Not Kayla Banworth, and she's an Olympian.
Wong.
Good job.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. She's an Olympian.
Jordan Larson.
Not quite Jordan.
I was going to say Jordan Larson.
Miss Wong.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. It is National Signing Day here, not just in the state of Nebraska, but across the country. Early signing day. You actually have until the 5th if you'd like to wait until Friday to sign if you really wanted to.
Can we just call this?
Did you know that?
Can we just call this National Signing Day? Like it's not even early National Signing. It's just signing day.
Well, technically, you could still sign in February.
But
if you
like
really wanted
everybody,
to.
that we'll just call that late National Signing Day. Then this is just National Signing Day because anybody of importance, anybody that is necessary or very highly touted, signs today.
Pretty much,
or
yeah.
Signs these next few days.
Speaking of guys that have signed already, 5 for Nebraska have already signed. Danny Odom, the 5-star. The 5-star corner, Nayland Scott, the 3-star receiver, Larry Miles, another 3-star receiver, Jace Reynolds, the local product, the only in-state kid in the class. He signed as well. And then Jamal Rhule, who we spoke to earlier in the fall when he committed, the running back out of North Carolina, have all signed. There are 4 that have not signed yet: Claude Mpuma, Luke Sorensen, Rex Waterman, and Hayden Ainsworth. So we'll wait on those. And we'll let you know once those start coming in. The big one there, obviously, Claude Mpuma, the 4-star offensive tackle.
Big boy.
One of the top 150 players in the country. So he is in Chicago or the Chicago area. So makes sense that he may not have signed yet. They can start at 7. So it's usually somewhere between like 7 and 8 o'clock. The other 2 guys, Luke Sorensen and Rex Waterman, are West Coast. Hayden Ainsworth's in Mississippi, so that one's a little weird that he hasn't signed yet because it's 8:30 out there.
Maybe he's going to have a whole ceremony thing with other people at a school.
Yeah, maybe it's like a whole – sometimes they do that.
Sometimes
they like set the gym up.
Yeah, those are later. Because, like, there are kids here in Nebraska who their signing days are until, like, 3 o'clock or whatever. Granted, I don't know if they sign earlier and, like
actually sign.
Fax it over.
Yeah.
Do we still fax?
I think they are still faxing them.
Faxing things?
I don't know if they're – I don't think they're
schools.
e-signing yet.
Not yet.
It doesn't seem like it because you don't see like the iPad up there, and they're just like, you know.
I would.
I think they're still faxing it. I'm pretty sure.
I faxed mine.
Yeah, did you?
I did. I had a signing day at my school.
To UNK?
Yep. Me and my boy Chris Luring. Shout out to Chris Luring. He signed for wrestling at UNK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big UNK family over there at Bell West.
No,
just you two. Just you two.
Just the 2 of us.
But you guys didn't know that Rico ran track at UNK.
Dude had speed. Still got a little bit.
Allegedly.
Not a lot. Not a lot left in there.
That's a secret.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
You can also run fast for shorter.
Oh, yeah. You give me short spurts, I got you.
And less frequently.
Yeah.
Than you used to.
Then it's like heavy breathing, and then I'll give you like a ta.
You were hurting after that football game.
A little bit. Didn't stretch. Didn't do anything. But it was still showing out, right? I mean.
You did. You had the nice juke. You had the nice juke. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, it was It was a little rough, though, for your boy.
Still got it. Your boy still got it a little bit.
So that's where we're at on National Signing Day for Nebraska. As stated earlier, when those other signings come in, we'll keep you posted. If anything weird happens, I don't expect it to, but we'll also talk to Brian Christopherson about that. We did get some news yesterday that there is supposedly a 10th member of this class that's going to be involved. It is another Australian. Seems like Mike Eckler is going to bring over a kicker.
Why? You're pretty good on kickers.
You can never have too many kickers.
Feel like you can.
No. Kickers, you've seen this before.
Yeah, you're right.
Kickers are like, oh, we've got a kicker. This guy's great. And then he loses his mind and never makes a field goal.
But
again.
we have two kickers who are pretty solid. Cunanan was good this year.
Cunanan was good this year.
We still have Tristan Alvano on the roster.
We have no idea. We really have no idea what he is as a college
Tristan
kicker.
Alvano was good for a hot minute.
And then he wasn't.
Then he got hurt.
Right, but when he tried to play through being hurt, it wasn't very good.
Because you didn't have any other kickers. But now you have two. Now you have two.
I understand that.
And I think Tristan
is a junior.
Is gonna be a senior.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been here for 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
So
Did he get a med red?
He might have, but it's time to start looking at new kickers.
All right, whatever.
You can never have it's good to have another kicker.
I'm not mad at it. I'm just confused.
Why?
I'm not going to question Mike Eckler's decision.
Yeah, you're all of a sudden you're like, listen,
out of all the coaches,
Rico here. I don't know about Mike Eckler.
Look, I didn't say that. Don't you dare.
Rico out on Mike Eckler.
Don't.
That's what he said.
Stop it. People are going to take this out of context. I don't want that. Ridiculous.
David says Rico said quick spurts. How many kids do you have? 3. He's got 3.
Really, Dave?
Travis.
All these hoes laughing like something funny.
Thank you.
Travis says
Ridiculous.
Kickers are a fickle bunch. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Kickers are fickle?
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast.
Kickers are fickle.
5 times fast.
I don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you can never have enough kickers. It's kind of like relief pitchers. Like you just always need more.
Yeah, I did see a video of the Australian kicker booting a supposed 60-yarder. Supposed. It said 60. He said it was 60.
Dane Coyote has a request here. He would like us to explain for the 1,000th time. It might be less than that, but it's close.
I haven't explained once.
Why the class is small and why that impacts the class ranking, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
This is a numbers game with the rankings in terms of you can have a decent star average in your class, but still be a small class, and you won't have a very good ranking. I believe the number is 80 out of 125 players are sophomores or younger.
It's a very young class.
Only 19 guys walked on senior day. That means 106 are left.
That's nuts.
The roster limits are coming. They're being grandfathered in, but they are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So a 10-person class puts you at 116. Do you guys want transfer portal guys or not?
Absolutely not. I mean, I do.
I think a lot of people do.
I don't know about the rest of the people.
I would make the argument. So if you want transfer portal guys, this was going to be a small class. Now, was it? I think they wanted it somewhere between 12 and 15. They missed on some of their targets. It is what it is.
Let's put it this way. I'm looking through the national recruiting rankings, which there's some surprising schools up here.
Yeah.
Auburn, I understand. Auburn, fire their coach, whatever.
Yeah.
12 commits. Again, not all of them are going to sign. Potentially, they could get some flips. 12 commits. They're ranked 67th because 5 of them are 4 stars.
Very good. Yeah.
Nebraska does not have 5 4 stars.
No, they have a 4-star and a 5-star and then 3 stars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Somebody with only 3 stars. 18 3 stars.
Where does that put you?
Texas State, 68th.
Yeah, would you rather have Danny Odom or you want 6 more 3 stars?
Yeah.
I'll take Danny Odom.
Do you want all 3 stars or do you want a 5-star and a 4-star sprinkled in and then you go out and you get some transfer portal guys? Because also, I don't know if you guys realize this. There were a lot of coaches fired.
Yes.
And a lot of coaches fired usually means a decent amount of transfer portal guys.
Yeah.
And not a lot of times. I would say more often than not, you're going to have some of the really talented guys on those teams enter the portal because they know what they can do and what they did with the previous coach, and if their style doesn't fit with the new coach,
and their market value is going to be higher also.
they still want to show out.
Cloud and Puma has signed, so we're good there.
There we go. Thank goodness.
Whew. Yeah, I mean,
I thought Vanderbilt was going to come in and swoop him.
Yeah. A 5-star quarterback flipping from Georgia to Vanderbilt was not on my bingo card.
That's crazy.
Like, Clark Lee is doing work.
I don't know what kind of voodoo dolls or rituals he's got going on at Vanderbilt, but I kind of want to see it keep going.
Mikey Mike, how do you think guys get older? Like, yes, they're young now, but those freshmen and sophomores become sophomores and juniors.
Also,
that's how you get older.
So I'm not saying you said this, Mikey Mike, but there have been people who don't like the transfer portal because you're bringing in guys who were go for a reason and they don't have the right camaraderie and all this stuff. That's how you get older guys quickly.
Yes,
is through the transfer portal.
Yeah, but you've got this whole 80 group of guys that are aging together in the program. Like, that's how you get older.
Guess what? Next year, they're going to be older.
They'll be sophomores and juniors.
That's crazy.
And then the year after that, they'll be juniors and seniors.
Oh, my goodness.
And in the meantime, you're going to try and supplement through the transfer portal. I understand that.
Ravi, how does time work?
Well, it depends on if you believe in a linear model of time or not, or more of a multiverse situation.
You know what? I don't want to do that.
Okay. I'll say
I don't want to do that.
You asked the wrong question.
I don't want to do that.
I'm a time travel nerd.
I thought you'd say you're a time traveler. I knew it.
This is where I break it. Rico, actually, I'm a time traveler.
Why haven't you given us any type of knowledge about the future? Why you knew what was going to happen this year?
You
son of a.
That's part of the
Shane. He knew.
He
has an
and
old,
we let him off the hook.
He has an old soul, so he's probably just traveled from the past up to here.
Oh, that explains.
That's true.
Tendencies.
I do have an old soul. I'm a bit of a curmudgeon, as some people would say. Dang makes a good point. The most successful teams aren't building out of the portal like FSU; they're supplementing. That's also accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can get good guys in the portal. You can add areas of need in the portal. Most of these teams that are sustainably good, then those guys are not getting like those. We've seen this, and it can work on sort of one-off years. And we've yet to see it work sustainably for multiple years.
Mm-hmm.
And DBJ brings up a good. Nebraska will also lose people to the portal, so the transfer hall will be larger as well.
I hope it's nobody important.
But we haven't seen anyone sustainably say, this is how we're building our team. Not in college football. College basketball, sure, totally different. All the time. But college football, we have not seen a team have sustained success year after year after year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we saw Mel Tucker do it the first year, then it fell off the map. Like, you are gambling so much if you're relying on the transfer portal and I get that it's quick fixes, a little bit faster, a little bit easier. Dan Mullen just did it out at UNLV, but again, UNLV famously not in a power conference. That also makes a big difference here.
Also, will it work next year?
Again, and he's done it for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
The Mike Norvell situation at Florida State is an excellent example. It's been they got to 13-0, right? And then they go 2-10 and 5-7 in back-to-back years. So maybe next year they will equal the 13 wins they had the 1 year, and it will have taken the next 3 years to do that.
Just took them a little bit.
So, I don't know if that's the model you really want to follow.
It's not a model for consistency.
No. I like bringing it, and Coach Rhule's talked about this. He likes bringing in transfer portal guys with multiple years. So you're not getting super old right away there either. Guys like Williams Winery, guys like Elijah Pritchett. Now, when you have to, you go get a Rocco Spindler and a Dane Key as well. But for the most part, I think, I don't remember the number, but over half of the guys last year that they brought in the transfer portal had multiple years left. That's intentional. That's for a reason. It's too hard. It is too hard to try and build your team that way consistently with 1 year rentals.
Yeah.
And I don't hold it against the players at all. It's just, that's a really tough way to go about your business.
Yeah, because you want to bring in those guys who have the talent. Obviously, you see that for whatever reason things didn't work out at their previous stop. You bring them in, and you brought them in for a reason. You saw something that maybe wasn't being used wherever they were, like a Deshaun McCullough, you believe that he's a really good pass rusher, but they have him playing safety and linebacker. You bring him in for the first part of the season, it was working out pretty well.
He got banged up.
Then he got hurt and things changed.
Yeah.
Whatever happened. But to bring in guys with multiple years, I think that's great because it's kind of just an extension of the recruiting class from like maybe it's somebody that you had your eye on the previous year or 2 years ago. Things didn't work out. Maybe they ended up redshirting at their year, so they still have 2 to 3 years left. So it's somebody who you already did your homework on, and maybe the previous school already got them to that weight, that strength that you were planning on getting them to.
Yeah.
You can bring them in and play them right away.
Yeah, it's entirely – and so there's different reasons. Like there's different reasons to bring in portal guys. And frankly, like you mentioned, with all of the turnover in coaches this year, that is – I would guess the leading cause of transfer portal entries across the board, whether it's a position coach, coordinator, or head coach that leaves. That is that's a huge, huge part of why people enter transfer portal. So it's not like, oh, there's something wrong with this kid. That's kind of how people used to look at the transfer portal. And I'm sure for some of them it still is. But for the most part, it's, hey, I was 18. This situation has either changed or isn't what I thought it was going to be. I would like to try something else.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what it is.
Things change.
Things do change.
You get somewhere. I've heard this a few times from a few people where the coaches put on faces for when they're recruiting, when they want to bring somebody in, and then you actually get there and it's a completely different person. And that's kind of something that I believe Matt Rhule and his staff have tried to avoid or have been avoiding, where you don't go on the road and put on some type of mask, some type of persona when you're recruiting somebody, and only to bring them in and be a completely different person. That's why Rhule said he wants these guys, when they do come in for visits, to go to practices, not just the game, but go to practices and experience what it's going to be like when you are here and how they're going to coach you up or how they're going to coach you outside of a game atmosphere. So if that doesn't happen, you have these guys who end up going to these universities and finding out, oh, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. Let me peace out. Let me go somewhere else real quick.
Yeah, and that's not, yeah. And so, again, I think the transfer portal will be a big part of Nebraska's plans this year. I also think the transfer portal class, it wouldn't surprise me if it's about the same size as the high school class, about another 10, 12 guys, somewhere in that range.
Also, there's a second signing day. So, like, anybody that if there's people who don't end up signing during these next few days, Nebraska will do their due diligence, look into that, use the portal, because like we said, they're going to lose people. So they're going to have to supplement the roster. Also, I still think that did the extension for the roster size, did they get grandfathered in?
Yes, I believe I am not totally sure how it works, but the guys that were currently on the roster last year
were allowed to stay through this year.
Are allowed to stay through their eligibility.
Okay, because I was going to say that there's also that.
Yeah.
Where Nebraska does have a larger roster than a lot of other schools around the nation. So a reason for a smaller recruiting class could be, like you said, the freshmen, sophomores who are moving up, who are still going to be with the team outside of, you're not banking on anybody transferring right now.
So the signing day
you
guys
don't want to bring in too many.
The signing day guys do count against the future cap. I don't believe the transfer portal guys do.
Okay.
Because they were enrolled in college. I believe they're part of the grandfather game, even if you switch situations. So,
but that's also a situation you got to keep your eye out of.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's a reason this class is smaller. Like if they had needed to sign 20 guys, they would have signed 20 guys. I don't know if you would have liked all 20 of them.
Yeah.
But they would have signed 20 guys. Like this was always going to be a smaller class. Funky Giblets, when does it? So technically it is in effect now, Funky Giblets, the 105 roster limit, but anybody that was on a roster this year doesn't have to get cut. So it won't fully take effect until probably 5 years from now.
Well, it's going to be like the COVID thing.
It is. It's going to be exactly like the COVID thing where you're like, does this guy have a this guy have a thing?
Yeah. You're just like, how many years does he have left? Like how many players are we still doing that with? Like, how are you still in college? Like
there's the Baker Mazzara for USC.
Yeah.
Is in like his 7th or 8th or 12th year. I don't know.
Like, how are you still here? I do that with volleyball players all the time. I'm like, how are you still playing?
It's going to be worse when, there's some of us it's going to take a long time, and by some of us I mean old people like me, where whenever they switch to the 5 years of eligibility is really going to mess with my head because guys will literally be playing for half a decade, and I'll just be like, "What's happening? Why are you still here?
That's crazy.
You're at the same spot you were 4 years ago. What's happening?"
I mean this in the nicest way. If you're good, you won't be playing for 5 years.
Well, I think there's.
Do you still get the 3? Does the NFL still require like the 3 years?
Yeah, NFL still requires 3 years. Okay. I think there's this whole universe of players that are really, really good college players that are never going to be quality pros. And I think those are the guys that
will use their 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of quarterbacks like that. There's a ton of quarterbacks that are just really good college quarterbacks that are never going to be pro prospects in the way that. And now that you can get paid, like I think there's a bunch of guys that'll stick around for 5 years.
What a time!
It's super frequent in basketball. You'd rather play in the States for 5 years than go over to Europe. Most of those guys, especially if the money's similar.
Europe's pretty cool.
The parts of Europe that people visit are pretty cool. The parts of Europe where most of those guys end up playing, not that cool.
I don't know. I got a friend who is married to an international basketball player, and it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, where were they playing? Do you remember what country they were in?
Sweden.
See, that's a great country to play in. A lot of these guys end up playing in like Latvia. Not as cool.
Not as cool.
Not as
Are you
cool.
guys going? I wish I was going to Sweden. That'd be sick.
Not as cool. Latvia, not as cool as Sweden.
How dare you?
No offense to
Latvia.
I've never been. Just from what I can, just from what I can surmise from the internet.
How dare you disrespect? I'm gonna feel real bad if he's not from Latvia. My man Rokus Jokubaitis played for the Knicks.
I
believe he was from Latvia. Man was a demon for about 3 games.
I think Latvia is where. Did you ever watch the show New Girl?
He's Lithuanian. Damn it.
Oh wow, racist.
Yep, you're right. The other L country. Yes, I love New Girl.
So, Winston, I believe he played
in Latvia. Yeah.
He played in Latvia.
Yeah, he was professional in Latvia.
Yeah, so maybe that's where my
is that why you're
sense of
Latvia?
That's where my sense of Latvian basketball came from.
But like you liked it until he got hurt. Don't do that.
What TK do?
If Mike Eckler leaves for some reason, I blame Rico.
Yeah, no, you said you were out.
I didn't say that.
Rico said he was out.
I never said that. I like Mike Eckler.
Why would you say that?
I like Mike Eckler.
Apparently not enough.
He's like my second favorite coach on the roster.
Who's your first?
I don't know. I couldn't just say first.
Why not?
Because then it just feels like a cop-out.
Or it could be the truth. What coach do you like better than Mike Eckler?
I like the wide receivers coach. I can't remember his name.
To Kill Shorts?
Yeah, I like to Kill Shorts.
Should we do a power rankings in the offseason of our favorite coaches?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I feel like that would be fun. We should put you in that position.
You know what? Sure. You want to do? I'll do it. I need Damon here though, so he can judge my picks.
Damon 100% would not do it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. I need him to judge my picks. Like if I put somebody there, I'd be like, "You don't even know the guy. Like, what do you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. He seems like a good guy."
Seems
like
a good hang.
Seems like a cool dude. Seems like somebody I can go get some. Seems like somebody I can go get some brewskis with.
Yeah. Big brewskis guy.
Big brewskis guy.
Yeah.
You think you could just chill and just talk with Matt Rhule?
Yeah, I think so.
No football.
Yeah.
Probably.
He seems like interesting. He seems like he has enough interest.
Do you think Matt Rhule would ever invite you on his podcast?
I mean that'd be awesome. Probably not though.
You ain't getting me.
No, probably not.
You ain't that cool.
I agree. We're agreeing on this.
You ain't that cool. You ain't like that. You ain't House Rules podcast guy.
Listen, only half of our show can ever be on the House Rules podcast. DB already took that one, so.
Wow, he's probably right though.
Dibs on next.
I will say, if you get an invite before me, I will.
I know you're busy, Matt, because after all the signings, you're going to talk about him. But I'm here, my guy.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're going to talk about, but
that sounds soft.
UNK track.
Hell yeah, we can.
Yeah. Like, how are those 60 hurdles?
I'll be like, bro, let me join your staff as a sprints coach.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to teach you boys how to run fast.
Have you ever coached?
Yeah.
What'd you coach?
Sprints, hurdles, and jumps.
Where at?
Summer track, Bellevue Breeze, 2 years.
There you go.
Guess what?
What?
Coached 5 All-Americans.
All right. How old are those kids?
They were from 12 to 16.
Okay. I thought you could be like, I had 8-year-old All-Americans, and I'd be like, come on, man.
Cade Johnson?
Yeah.
Coached him. He was in track, not football, but still.
Still counts.
I'll take it. That's an NFL player.
Still counts.
I'm just saying.
He wouldn't have made it without that.
He wouldn't have.
Without that sprinting coaching.
That's me, baby. Taught him how to be faster.
Let's take a quick break here. We're going to talk to Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7 next, see if there's anything we need to know about signing day or the defensive coordinator or anything else for that matter. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I think that feels good. I mean, that's something that really matters to us. We put a lot of thought into trying to build our non-conference schedule in such a manner that we can really have that standard that metric stand out, I guess, as a part of our resume. And ultimately, this team is hungry and eager to be in the postseason, but not just to be in the postseason, but advancing there. And so everything matters. Every game matters. I think the focus for our team is just one game at a time and what needs to happen today in practice to help us be the best team we're capable of. But just really good that the everything's kind of coming together for us to be a top 15 team in the net, and hopefully that people will take notice of that, and that will start being talked about as a team that could potentially host in the NCAA tournament.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You go through a lot of emotions because, of course, spent 8 years there, still love everybody associated with that program. And to watch them have some awesome wins was really great. And then to see some players that, hadn't played a lot have to step up and deliver, I think was really, really satisfying. So, of course, I still want them to be great. That's why the bummer about having them in our bracket is we both can't be in Kansas City. So, but no, I mean, they're a really great team, and I think there's no doubt that they were going to have a great season. They should be very proud, and it's just I'm proud of them. So hope they can make a deep run, sort of deep.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live. Here is Husker 24/7 senior writer, Brian Christopherson.
Yeah, you got guys walking into Ace Hardware without their shirts on.
Brian Christopherson.
We got a pretty good sewing circle in this state.
Brian Christopherson.
To me, it's like crunch time, baby.
Here is Brian Christopherson.
Welcome back. Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centrist Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. BC, what's going on, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
You know, we are doing just fine. How is this rather sleepy National Signing Day treating you?
I can't lie. I like a little more juice to signing day. I didn't think I liked it back in the day. I thought I hated it, but I actually had a great relationship with it now. As I think back, I get nostalgic about sort of the old days on signing day. Obviously, Nebraska's smaller class contributes to that this year. There's some people who think it's sort of coming back, and maybe we're going to feel that next year. But this year it definitely is. It's not like 15, 20 years ago. And I'm a little bummed about it, but still on my third cup of coffee, trying to treat it like the old days.
Do you miss the drama of like Nebraska could get a flip here, or Nebraska is in danger of losing somebody, or, oh, surprise, somebody got a call when they were about to sign the paper and now they're not coming to Nebraska?
Yeah, I like that stuff a little bit. I like a good, truly literally 11th hour situation, which we have had like in years past, like at 11:30 p.m. the night before, where there's some there's guys like whose names are like stuck in my head, like Travell Dixon is like a name from Husker recruiting past, where there was like some drama in the last hour. And not to knock anybody, but some of these guys, everybody gets all up in arms. Are they going to get them? Are they not? And then you kind of follow their career, and it's like, oh, that didn't really happen anyway for wherever he ended up. But yeah, that stuff is you kind of live for that a little bit.
Who was the player a few years ago that the snowstorm made it so he didn't sign with Nebraska?
Oh, geez. Man, you're asking.
He went to State.
Yeah, the problem with me now is my brain, they all these names run together, and I only have so much bandwidth, and sometimes like I have to like knock that stuff out to think about like Nebraska's backup left guard situation, and so I don't have room up there for it. I can't remember who it is.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I'm trying. It was a linebacker. He was a safety, moved to linebacker. He went to Ohio State. It's whatever. He's going to sign with Nebraska. Snowstorm happened. Ohio State was like, hey, you should come here. And he was like, you know what? Okay.
You're making some really good points.
You know what?
All right.
Somebody could write a humorous signing day book about recruits and some last minute decisions, phone calls that have been placed by coaches at 2 a.m, how moms have factored into decisions, and moms who have cried or left the stage when their kid picked a certain school. That would be a good read.
Yeah, the moms of the situation, I feel like you could write it. You could do an entire
just that, yeah,
30 for 30 on the moms of signing day, because wasn't Terrell Pryor one of those?
I think so, yeah.
Where he wanted to go to Oregon, I think, and his mom was like, absolutely not.
No, you're not.
You get the mom, you get the recruit usually, but sometimes there's a split at the last second. That would be one of their best 30 for 30s.
Javonte Jean-Baptiste.
There you go.
Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you.
So BC, obviously we knew this was going to be a smaller class. It looks like everybody but the West Coast guys have gotten their letters of intent in. What do you make of this class? Obviously a couple of really high-end guys with Impuma and Odom on the top. Just your overall evaluation of the class, including, I guess, whether or not you expected it to be this small, maybe a little bit bigger, and how you just think the 26 class played out overall.
Yeah, I guess probably a few months ago, I would have suspected it would have been, I don't know, maybe 12 to 15 guys. So the fact that it might only land at 10 is probably slightly smaller than I thought. I've said on this show, Ravi, we've talked about how you evaluate classes, I think is different than it used to be, just because of the portal. And I have like the sandwich theory, where you almost have to look at like the class and what's each portal thing around it look like, and then combine it all together and who's actually contributing for you. Of course, we know that for better or worse, and people can have all sorts of opinions on this, 91 of Nebraska's players this year were sophomores or younger. So just a simple math situation made it so that you couldn't take as many of this class. We obviously see that they're loading up for 27 and 28 and trying to get way ahead of that. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind. So I would tell people that there are concern areas. Don't get me wrong. We saw them the last couple of weeks of this season, and people have expressed them, and that's fair to do so. But I don't think Nebraska's national ranking in this particular class is near the top of my list. Like when some people use that as a bullet point of how things aren't in great shape right now. I don't think that applies because I think you have to look at a bigger picture than that. And obviously you asked about like, certain guys like Danny Odom. I was going through all of his stuff last night or a couple nights ago. And kid's a stud. I mean, I get the 5-star stuff, and I don't get all caught up in that, but 24/7 Sports ranked him number 31 overall. So he's one of the highest rated Nebraska signees they've ever had. And if you watch him, he is a lockdown corner, has unbelievable body movement when the ball's in the air, great instincts. And the thing I like about him is he slips through blocks. Like guys have trouble like kind of locking him down on the perimeter on blocks, and he'll make tackles. He's not shy to get physical. So all the stuff kind of works together for him to be ranked as he is. That was a huge poll, and we can't forget that just because that one didn't have signing day drama. Remember the day he committed, that was like kind of a back and forth. Ohio State and other schools were involved, and Nebraska got him. So you can't forget about a win like that on today.
Oh, and so when you talk about Danny Odom, I do think I think it's interesting to remember. You mentioned one of the highest rated guys they've ever signed. Rico and I did this earlier. He's the first non-legacy 5-star to commit in 20 years, basically since Marlon Lucky.
Yeah.
And we haven't had a lot of experience with this level of recruit when we're talking about Nebraska. And there was quite a bit of drama with him kind of throughout the process because people thought, I believe Michigan and Ohio State were making really strong runs at him. Is that correct?
Yeah. Day of his commitment, I remember like an hour before, we had all our stuff loaded up because there was a very real shot Nebraska was going to get him. But then it was like, no, I think it was Ohio State who was thought to have the upper hand for like an hour or two beforehand. And then there was sort of a delay in his announcement. And so that happens, and you're like, okay, Nebraska got him, but this will be drama filled to the end, right? You kind of get that in your mind. And it actually wasn't. Like he committed to Nebraska and has just stayed steady. Like a couple of weeks ago, he told Tom Loy in our network, it's over, I'm done. And, I'm sure people trying to make a last second at him. They always do with those type of guys. But bottom line is he never wavered after that initial day where there was a lot of back and forth. So that's a heck of a win. Obviously with the DC change, you never know how guys are going to react, but I think he had a really good relationship with Addison Williams, and Addison can recruit. That guy connects with some guys, and so I think you're going to see more of that. As long as he's around here.
As you kind of look at the rest of the class, obviously Odom is the headliner. Is there anybody else as you're like kind of going through these guys? You're like, I just kind of really like this guy. I know people are pretty high on Impuma as well, but is there anybody you've kind of just randomly taken a liking to?
Luke Sorensen out in Cali, I think is probably underrated as a tight end. There were a lot of good tight ends in this class nationally, but I think Nebraska got, one of the best guys. The guys who cover the West Coast believe that too. He's like got size 18 cleats and is just sort of he's got a freak movements for like for his body type. Like he started actually a couple of years ago on the offensive line as like 170 pounder, and he's built himself up. I don't know his exact weight, but he's in the 200s now, and he can really move. And he's just a big kid that I think adds some, something to that room. And, they need it going forward. Obviously Lyndon Myers, a guy who has one more year, but we'll see what can happen with Carter Nelson still going forward. That hasn't, jumped off the screen yet. So any addition to there, I think that's a position where you could use a little jolt.
Is there, as you look through this, you mentioned obviously the change in defensive coordinator as well, of moving from signing day to what's happening on the staff. Is there, did you get any indication that moved the needle at all for any recruits? You mentioned Odom's relationship was mostly with Addison Williams. do you get any or is that more going to be a transfer portal thing, do you think, where whoever they end up hiring will be more impactful in who they bring in the transfer?
I think it's more of a portal thing, especially. I mean, that maybe that's a deal where a smaller class helps you. And you also don't know, like sometimes some coordinators are really involved like in the recruiting process. And I'm not saying John Butler wasn't, but Nebraska only had, let's see, there's only like 2 defensive guys in this class, you know? So if as long as Danny was fine with his position coach and you didn't rock the boat there, Chase Reynolds is coming, you know, no matter what. So I don't think that one factored in, but it will be interesting in the portal. And that's where, you know, you're looking for the traits about who can coach your guys up on the field first and foremost. But if that guy has that electricity around him, sort of inside the walls that we don't see, but recruits would or portal visitors would, I do think that's a nice added element that you have to factor into this hire. You know, you hate to bring it always back to like Eckler, but Eckler sort of got that package, right, of like what you look for in a guy who runs something, in that he's a great teacher. He can bring it down to a level where when he's explaining something, he could go out, as they've said, to a bunch of 6th graders and get it down to a sentence or 2 where they understand something and they can execute it. But also he's just got that sort of enthusiasm, which I do think matters as a D coordinator in this hire, where it's like, will players run through a wall for that guy? I know that's cliche, but that does matter. I think, especially on that side of the ball, we've seen it. You know, you'd have to say whatever faults you thought Bo Pelini had, he got the head coaching job here because in 2003, those guys would have done anything for him. And so that kind of mentality, I think, can carry and especially help in the portal stuff too.
BC, as you start to think about who the next defensive coordinator could be, where did you start? Did you start thinking of names you liked or qualities that you wanted in the position?
I think I'm like everybody else, where you're kind of throwing the obvious names at the dartboard, and then there's sort of like, you know, there's a little under the radar guys who aren't as obvious. Like you start with the high profile guys, and then, you know, you work your way to like the Toledo defensive coordinator and guys like that, who's like, well, maybe that could work too. You kind of start looking at sort of numbers like that. I'm not that far into it yet. I don't know. It'll be interesting today at the press conference because Rhule's really downplayed. And I think part of it is just he was talking to his players in those press conferences, but he hasn't really been big about that whole like 3-man, 4-man, 5-man kind of discussion that has been out there about like what type of scheme you want. And basically he said in the previous press conferences, you know, just go play, make plays. I've had defenses that have had success stopping the run in all sorts of schemes, but it will be, I think, of curiosity to the fans today to have the itch maybe scratched if he's leaning a certain way or if he's willing to divulge if he wants to tweak scheme or talk in any way about that, or if that's just not the main factor and maybe he's looking for just like personality traits. I think one of the things you look at though, Ravi, is like, it doesn't have to be this, but it sure would be nice, I think, if the guys the Big Ten life a little bit, been through this league. That would be an added trait that would be beneficial, and also probably a little more experience than, you know, John Butler had as a coordinator. Obviously, he had a great background as an NFL guy, and we can't pretend like when he arrived a year ago, we didn't talk about the fact that he could be the guy to replace Tony White if Tony left. That was always a conversation since he started. So we can't backtrack and say that wasn't out there, but he didn't have as much coordinator experience as maybe you could go get with this hire.
As you kind of go through this, you know, one of the things I keep thinking about is, and maybe this, tell me if this is stupid or not. That's basically what the question is going to be is am I stupid, BC?
No, you're not. You're smarter than me, I think.
We're going to go 2 different directions with that.
I was going to say, Rico hard disagrees. Is the question I keep, or the quality I keep thinking is, I don't want guys to have to think as much as it seems like they're having to think. Like, I feel like that, because we're like, oh, this guy looks slow. And it's like, I know these guys aren't slow. I know they're not. they may not be Ohio State level athletes, but I know they're not slow. But it looks like they're slow all the time, and I think it's just because they're forced to think too much. And I think part of that is you want a guy that has a little bit of Pelini in him, where you want him to be able to run through a wall for you, or a little bit of Eckler. But I also think sometimes, and maybe this is the case with a guy coming from the NFL who's used to guys that kind of process things on a different level, is they're asked to identify too much in real time, and that makes them slow.
Yeah, I definitely wonder if that was one of the main problems from this defense. And if you go back to the offseason, there was a lot of talk about how they needed to sort of evolve it and extend it. Remember, there was that conversation about like third down defense and how you have to like have these added elements almost to confuse the quarterback in those spots. And what can end up happening is you as you're getting to, you confuse your own guys, or it just makes them a half step slower. And then you're in trouble. It's been talked about for 48 hours, so it's nothing new. I think John Butler had a tough assignment. I do. With the D line as it was, I thought this was going to be a development year on the field in games. And whenever you're in that situation, it's sort of hard to whatever you do to cover that up sometimes if you have guys that aren't getting off block. So I think you have to recognize that. But I think there is something to what you're saying. How much do we pay our respects when Iowa comes around every year to those quotes from Nebraska's staff? They just do what they do, it's sort of that everybody, they kind of do the same thing they've done for 20 years. Dana Holgerson talks about they're doing the same thing they did against us in the Alamo Bowl when I was at Texas Tech in 2001. And I don't know, there's probably a happy medium between that and sort of where Nebraska was, I think, to your point.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of funny when you put the name Iowa on it, because, I don't think it's a secret. I think everybody knows what Iowa wants to do, right? They don't disguise they don't fool anybody, right? Mm-hmm. Defensively, they're not tricking you. They just go out and execute at a super high level. And I think sometimes it's really hard, especially with college kids, when you're getting new guys in every couple years, sometimes more than that, to ask them to do too much. And I don't know, that I think for me, you mentioned the things you're looking for, some Big Ten experience. I would love that. At least power conference experience is something I would appreciate. Not saying they can't be successful if they don't have that, but that would be the first thing I look for. And then sort of an offshoot of the simplicity part of it is just find a way to get your best athletes on the field.
And I don't know what the answer to this is. If they had it, they would have supplied it by now. You guys got into this a little bit. I was listening to your show the other day, and it was a segment about compounding things, basically, how one thing will sort of lead to another, and it really shows in the red zone stats. Maybe you can even the teeter-totter out, if your run defense is below average, if you're a group that can have takeaways or inside the 20-yard line, you have the ability to stand up. Nebraska let teams score touchdowns 24 of 31 times. Mm-hmm. That's incredible, bad. I mean, they would have had to be 25% points higher to have been in the top 25, which was obviously a long way away. They're last in the country in touchdown, red zone defense. And so I don't know what it is, but that's somewhat a mindset. You think back to the USC game, and they're actually playing pretty well. And I think there's some things they can be proud of actually on defense in that game, what they did to Maven with the pass and stuff. But there were those 6 plays, remember, where USC scored 2 touchdowns, got the 2-point conversion. All happened. That was half their offense for the game. Mm-hmm. And it's a deal where they get that explosive they actually beat Andrew Marshall one time, who had a great game, for 40 yards. And then it's just sort of a problem that keeps happening with Nebraska, where the next 2 or 3 plays sort of follow down the slide. They just can't. I always think of the Weezer song, if you pull the sweater and watch it come undone. That Nebraska has sort of been stuck in that loop, and I don't know what to say about it, because we've talked about it on the show, and even in mid-season, we're kind of they do all the hard stuff off season. I think their mat drills honestly would be harder than a lot of places, and they make them go through this stuff, and it's just it hasn't quite translated into whatever it needs to be in some of those moments. maybe it's youth on defense, and that's a big part of it. But somehow, some way, whoever comes in here is going to have to interject that, like, that play's gone. We have the men in black wave the thing in front of your face, and it's gone. And so I don't know, somebody who has that magic ability, if he can convince Matt Rhule of that in the interviews, he's the guy you hire.
So, we talk about staying on schedule on offense a lot, and we do a little bit on defense in the sense of like, hey, you want to stay out of 3rd and short situations, right? But you brought up an interesting point there with kind of the big chunk play to over Andrew Marshall, like the 40-yarder or whatever, right? And I kind of sit here and I wonder, do we think frequently enough about sort of those plays that get the defense off schedule and put them in a position where they maybe feel like they have to do something different? Because that almost, I feel like it's either that or they're just more mentally fragile than I want to admit.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. That's what they've got to somehow get to the bottom of, and they've been trying to for a few years. That's the part where I'm most like concerned, I guess, right now, is like, because I do think they've done a lot of stuff to try to solve that situation about, backs to the wall, building that sort of toughness within your team where, one, you feel comfortable in a 4th quarter like Iowa has for so many years. And 2, what we're talking about here, where, okay, you gave up a play, big deal. That's going to happen. Make the next one. I don't know how you get that mindset in your defense. And that's where I do think the mentality and sort of how whoever this DC is, how he's able to portray himself to Rhule and like how you handle those sort of situations as a coach is actually a big part of it. If you can find that guy who has that ability to sort of get guys or has on his resume, like you look at their red zone defense in the past and they stand up when they're in a tight spot. Because that was where the season flipped in a lot of ways. We could say it was run defense, but the red zone offense and red zone defense, it just wasn't there. And there's something that's almost beyond the football. You wonder sometimes it almost goes to the mind on some of those things.
Is there anything, this is just something that I've been noticing online when people are talking about the defensive coordinators that they want Nebraska to bring in. Is there anything in your mind to do with being a defensive backs coach and a defensive coordinator, or being a defensive line or linebacker and being a defensive coordinator, and kind of like the position that they know the best and how that translates to how the defense performs in that area?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think finally a good question.
I've been waiting.
Somebody had.
Yeah, someone had to ask one. I guess the obvious answer is probably, like, right now you're thinking, like, I'd love a guy who's sort of maybe has been more dialed into the front 7 in some ways, because you do feel like I think they got a really good secondary coach that they need to keep in Addy. I like a lot about him. I think he can be good with the players. He has his own coordinator experience that can lend itself to another guy if this DC is more D-line oriented or has been in his past. I think someone who's been connected to the front and the trenches could be useful. It doesn't have to be that, though. This is one of those deals where, you try to put all these things in a box and like say, well, you got to have this, this, and this, and you end up with like 7 or 8 different things, and you're not going to check off every one of them. So there's got to be a little bit of just a feel to the hire, and like this guy fits, and he can explain his plan, like I think Eckler did. Back to Eckler, remember Matt Rhule wasn't sure he wanted to hire Eckler, not because he knew he had a great resume, but he knew he was kind of a rock star coach around here and kind of wanted to get away from that. But Eckler, I think, was able to explain, as we've been told, how he teaches stuff and like how that can translate. So I think that's the biggest thing, is wherever this guy's background is he that guy that you get the sense like he can get a guy across the table from him and explain things in a way where that guy can process it and go make the play that he just screwed up on Tuesday, the right play on Wednesday, and then not let it be in his head on Saturday and just go play. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting what kind of background he has. I guess to your question, I would go back and say if there's a D-line like if he's kind of been from that pedigree, you might like it right now, but it doesn't have to be.
You know what's funny is I think the guy that's number one on almost all fans' boards is a defensive backs coach first.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not again.
Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard. I mean,
yeah. And you know what, though?
And everybody would roll to death about that hire.
Oh, they would. So that's the thing. Like, I mean, you can't cross it all off. It's a good question, though. But I mean, you'd have to say, if you look at Jim Leonard's background, obviously maybe you think of him DB's coach, passing game, defensive coordinator, all that stuff. But go back to his like Wisconsin defenses. I mean, they were stout usually against the run. And like Iowa, it wasn't a defense. They were, I think, a defense you would have said you kind of know what they're going to do. But guess what? You look up in November 20th and they're 8th in total defense and 7th in rushing defense back in those days. So, yeah, people would be over the moon with that hire.
So let me ask you this. We'll get you out of here, BC. What would be, obviously, the tenor of the offseason changed with the Iowa loss, especially how the Iowa loss went down. What would lift your spirits the most in the offseason? Getting whoever your number one guy on the defensive coordinator board is, or replicating a top 10 or 15 transfer portal class the way they did last year?
Both. They need both. I mean, it's got to be someone who, when he's hired and he comes in, he kind of ignites things, and there usually is that energy. Heck, I remember when Bob Diaco came here, there was a lot of talk about like what his Notre Dame red zone defense did the one year they had success and were like 12-0 or something. And so people will probably convince themselves to get fired up, but hopefully it's just sort of natural where you're like, I see it. Like, I see what he's done and how he communicates it already. Like in the early press conferences, this is a guy who looks like he's going to be successful. That would help turn the page. But then I do think you got to combine that with a couple big portal hauls, one or two probably on that defensive line. And, we'll see how the quarterback situation plays out. That's going to be a big thing. So there's like 4 or 5 different things that are mood shifters. The one thing, it's not a knock on anything, but today could have, in some years, would be that day that, Ravi, where you could kind of turn the page, right, a little bit if you had like your 27 class this year and it sort of worked out numbers wise where there was all this juice around it, but that's just not the case. So I think it's going to have to wait till the coordinator hire and the portal stuff if you're going to kind of get people like back where they put the Kool-Aid back in the closer to the fridge. They might grab it occasionally.
BC, you mentioned the quarterback situation. How much do you think, say, Dylan saying, yes, I'm coming back, or putting an announcement like he did last year, what kind of mood changer is that in your scale?
I think it would help. I mean, I think there's some excitement too about Latif, and there's like a portion of the fan base that can go either way with that. But bottom line is you've got a guy with Dylan's experience and former 5-star status. I think if he were back, he's meant a lot to portal recruitment too. Mm-hmm. I don't know that anybody, this is not a knock on Latif either, but I don't know that he could translate the way Dylan has to like some of the portal guys, right? Like you think about Isaiah Hunter and Dane Key. Like Dane Key is the guy like messaging Dylan like 2 days before he is going to make it public, like I'm in, like that. They had that type of relationship. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a big part of it too. Like if he came back, you sort of maintain that star status at the position that is useful in recruiting and the portal. We're seeing it with Trey Taylor, obviously.
That is Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. BC, appreciate the time as always. And I'm sorry you don't have the adrenaline rush on signing day that you used to. Maybe next year.
Yeah, next year I think we'll get it. Anyway, I'll go to my 4th cup of coffee. I'll be fine. Thanks for having me on as usual.
You could just go cover Vandy and get a 5-star quarterback to flip from Georgia.
Weird times, aren't they?
BC, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
That is Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7. We're going to talk to Andy KENDEIGH coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. We'll be right back.
Yeah, that was a super fun experience just to be able to go down there, not have a ton of prep for that Virginia game, just be able to work together and get the win. It was super fun, amazing experience. Gives us a little taste of like Big Ten tournament with the back-to-back games and stuff like that. But I think we competed well down there, and it was a lot of fun. Maybe a little bit. I mean, I think it's just being more aggressive and looking for my shots a little bit more. And I think my teammates are able to get me the ball in the right spots and situations to just make that happen. But yeah, just excited. I think she's playing with a lot of confidence this year, and that's super awesome to see. She's a really great player, really versatile, can play 4 or 5, guard anyone, and so I think she's become a really great leader for us too, and I think it's just super cool to see.
Speaking of Lexi Rodriguez, she's the all-time digs leader at Nebraska. Now, who did she pass?
She was a coach at, I can't remember what was it? Kayla Banworth?
Not Kayla Banworth, and she's an Olympian. Wong. Good job.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. She's an Olympian.
Jordan Larson.
Not quite Jordan.
I was going to say Jordan Larson.
Miss Wong.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Andy KENDEIGH from KETV. AK, what's going on, buddy?
Morning, boys. How's it going?
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
Things are happening.
How's your morning going? What are you up to this morning?
Well, it's every time that you kind of change the routine, it's a little bit of a struggle. And, I got to be in Lincoln this morning early, so I already cut myself shaving. It's been a great day so far. Yeah.
That's a terrible way to start the day.
Love that for you.
Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that? You're like, oh, man, I should have changed the razor out, but no. One day too late, and so there's going to be a nice little cut above my lip today. It's good. That's good.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't used that type of razor in at least 15 years.
What?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Even when I do shave, I go electric. I never go like to the skin, you know?
Yeah, I'm old school, as they know. I still write checks. So yeah, I'm an old man. So yeah, I
You use
cut
like
my
the
waves
straight
and
edge razor or no?
No. With the little soap dish and the lather up.
Yeah.
No, I'm not that old school.
Okay.
No, not that bad. Not that bad. But yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. And then now it kind of sets you back, and you're trying to get this damn thing to stop bleeding. You know how that goes. It's just like, would this ever? And then you forget about it, and then it stops. So there you go.
So what's the?
Good morning, boys.
It's going pretty good. You know, we're talking D coordinators. We're talking.
Oh yeah.
We're talking signing day. You know, we're going to talk a little Nebraska basketball later.
You know, absolutely nothing is happening sports-wise. So
we're talking about a grand conspiracy to keep Penn State from hiring a football coach, which I'm fascinated by.
Just love petty agents.
You know, so there's a lot going on today, AK.
And you didn't even mention the word volleyball, which is volleyball is going to be blossoming this weekend for both the Huskers and the Creighton Blue Jays. So.
I know they've got it rocking and rolling, both hosting, and I'll be honest, this is probably not fair of me.
Probably.
But the way this volleyball team has gone, I'm kind of like assuming they're going to get to a certain point before I really dial in, which I know is dangerous. But it's also kind of like, okay, you lost one set in all of Big Ten play. I don't feel like I'm making a huge leap here.
Well, anything can happen.
I know.
But yes, volleyball, I know. But volleyball at the college level, usually the better team prevails. But anything can happen. You can always have a bad night. But yeah, I'm with you though. And I will. I'm not jinxing anybody because I don't know.
Yeah, we're knocking on wood. We're knocking on wood.
Yeah, knocking on wood. But we may or may not. I will not confirm nor deny making reservations, hotel reservations in Kansas City, like back in April. So let's just. I'm not confirming that. I'm just saying, if one were to look ahead and make reservations so you could get a decent spot closer to the T-Mobile Arena. I'm just saying that probably would be not a terrible move.
Well,
so,
you know,
yeah, we're geared. By the way, Ravi, we are going to ABC, KETV. We not only have the championship match on our air, but also we're airing another for the second year in a row. We're airing the regional final the week before. They haven't set the pairings, but I gotta believe if I am any sort of television executive, you're going to take the biggest draw out there and slot them in that slot, especially if it's going to be a potential matchup between the top team in the country with their head coach facing her former team. So that would be the week before on the 14th on KETV. Now, that's not official yet. Obviously, both teams need to win 3 matches, but and they haven't set the matches in terms of the pairings yet. But that we're actually pretty juiced up about volleyball even before we get to bowl season, no matter where Nebraska winds up going bowling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited about volleyball postseason. I am just, you know, I'm certainly not a volleyball expert. As kind of a volleyball outsider, I'm making some assumptions here. And I think Kansas City's a lovely place to visit in mid-December for no reason at all.
Lovely. Yes, lovely. It's beautiful that time of year. All I know is that when you have you can play, again, I'm not a volleyball expert either, believe you me. When they rotate, it's like, wait, why is that person going there and that person going there? And I get that. My daughter played volleyball, and it took me years to catch on to the little zones and with the numbers that they put on to where you want to serve at. So, yeah, I get all that part, but what I do know is that 6 players can play at a time, right? And there were 7 Nebraska players honored on the first and second teams, all Big Ten. So add that up, and 7 players honored, 6 players can play at a time. That tells you what kind of team that Nebraska has. It's just mind-boggling to see what kind of lineup they have, and including 2 players at middle blocker on the first team. That's pretty amazing.
I mean, Nebraska volleyball is just a wagon right now with potentially 2 starting lineups. And you talk about the first and second teams for Big Ten.
25 first-team members is kind of ridiculous, but that's for another time to discuss.
Agreed.
Because famously, only 6 can play at a time.
Yeah, kind of crazy, but whatever. And then,
exactly.
You have your setter going 3 straight years as setter of the year. Oh, and by the way, getting named player of the year. I mean, Bergen Riley has just been fantastic this year.
She has, and she puts her teammates in such great positions. Again, not a volleyball aficionado. I'm not going to pretend I am, but to see her set up her teammates, and obviously the setter, you've heard it a million times. Setter is a quarterback in volleyball, and Bergen Riley is the best at it in the country right now. And there's no question the level of success that Nebraska's had is because of Bergen Riley, because she just puts her teammates in such good positions to drop the hammer. And when you're setting Harper Murray and you go, oh, Harper Murray's on the outside, you better watch out. And you're like, oh, don't forget about Andy Jackson, or oh, don't forget about Virginia Adriano, and it goes on and on and on. So that's one of the benefits of having such a star-studded lineup, is that you can't prepare for just one player on Nebraska's squad. And I contend too, if you split Nebraska into 2, I'm guessing their second team, Nebraska's second team, would be like a 3 seed or a 4 seed.
So somebody,
you know what I mean?
Somebody told me, somebody who knows way more about volleyball than I do, told me earlier this year that there are 2 top 10 teams and both of them reside at the University of Nebraska.
I don't doubt it. And they're just so deep. And I think that the thing about it, like Danny Busboom Kelly, you have the argument in sports when you're like, oh, is Phil Jackson of the Bulls? This is dating myself, but oh, is Phil Jackson of the Bulls? Is he the coach of the year? Well, oh, is Danny Busboom Kelly? She's got all the stars. You know what? You've got to manage those stars and distribute playing time and hits and touches and all that stuff. It's not as easy as roll the ball out there and put your whistle on. I mean, what Danny Busboom Kelly has done in this first year is nothing short of remarkable, because she's been able not only to keep this train on the tracks, but elevate it to a different level. I mean, this team, at 30-0, 20-0 in the Big Ten, the first Big Ten team to run the table in a full year in 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something. I don't care how talented you are. You're going to have some off nights. You're not going to be at your best 100% of the time. And she deserves that coach of the year, in my opinion, especially as a first year coach heading into replacing a legend in Lincoln. And you can honestly say, in 3 weeks, we can honestly say she's elevated the program to another level. We'll just hopefully they can finish the job that they started.
Yeah, I mean, they always tell you don't follow a legend, and DBK's like, here, hold my sparkly jacket. Like, she's like,
the jacket was sick though.
No, it was sick. I'm not making fun. Like, it was awesome, but it was just like, yeah, don't follow a legend. All right, whatever. I got this.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, you don't want to be the person to follow the person, but in Danny's case, man, she is. The way I'm just so impressed with her demeanor. She's so chill, but that she is as intense, and that competitive fire burns as hot as anybody. But that jacket, though, I will tell you, I was there for the blackout when she busted out that black sparkly.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! If she spun around in a circle with a spotlight on her, she'd be a disco ball. I mean, that was pretty amazing. And her kids' names are on the sleeve. I'm like, that is amazing. Like, what an awesome jacket that Adidas custom made for her. That was pretty cool. And hopefully she will make that into like the lucky jacket, and we'll see that come tournament time.
Yeah, so you mentioned this weekend, obviously you got Nebraska volleyball down to Lincoln, you got Creighton volleyball, and then you've got Creighton and Nebraska basketball as well, AK. Mm-hmm. It's a busy weekend.
Yes. Yeah, and I made the mistake of asking Coach Mack about looking too far ahead when we talked to him before the Nichols game. I said, hey, you guys, you have to talk to your fellas about looking ahead to Saturday. And he looked at me and he's like, oh, I'm not looking ahead to Saturday. It might be you. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean Sunday. But yeah, I felt like JJ Davis. October 4th, September 4th. It was one of those things that I was just like, oh boy, like But to Creighton's credit, last night they had one of their best shooting nights of the year. They were hitting threes. They shot like ungodly field goal percentage first half, like 68%. And this is without Jackson McAndrew. They're trying to figure that out with his end of the season injury. But now Hudson Greer's got something going on. I think he was in a boot last night, so we're gonna have to pay close attention to that. And I'll tell you, Nebraska's got a squad this year, and in at least the near recent past, it's kind of been role reversal where Creighton on paper seems like the better team, and then we've seen what Nebraska has done in those games, in these rivalry games. So just because Nebraska comes in with its lofty record, there's nobody knows what's going to happen Sunday, and anything can happen. And Fred's got them going on right now, and they've built a nice roster, and they're playing good basketball at times. Now there's been some clunkers, there's been some clunky moments, but to their credit, they've still been able to pull out victories when it's happened. Sunday's going to be a real test to see how far this Nebraska team has come.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a real test to see if Creighton has figured some things out too. Like you mentioned,
no question,
they've been struggling to put together lineups that make sense, especially with some of the injuries that you mentioned there.
Yeah, it's the other thing about Creighton too, guys, is that Owen Freeman he's still not where he feels he should be. He's still working his way in. He was on the shelf for months and months and months. So it's got to be frustrating for a guy who's so used to playing at long stretches of time at such a high level, we see glimpses of it, but once he gets to the point, and I think hopefully he turns that corner come New Year's, and maybe with a couple more weeks of conditioning and what have you. But I think that once he gets there, that's going to be a real boost. Because I think last night, if memory serves, he only played like 17, 18 minutes. And,
yeah, that's kind of the range he's been
so
in.
Effective.
Yeah.
And once you get him up to the 25 to 30 range, even higher, I mean, there's a difference when he's on the floor. And I just think that, between spacing and what he's able to do and have that big presence inside, I think that's going to make a big difference for Creighton. And because he is a talent and a game changer, in my opinion.
AK, appreciate the time as always. You get down to Lincoln. Hopefully you get that face to stop bleeding. And and we'll talk to you soon. It sounds like you're going to be busy the next week or so.
Yeah, I got that tissue, that tissue thing where you lick the tissue, you put it on the thing. Yeah, that's what's going on. So, well, thoughts and prayers are appreciated.
Don't forget to take it off before you walk in there. That's a mistake.
Good point.
That's a mistake you don't want to make.
I'll make sure to turn it off my phone too. No more Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer this year for Coach Rhule. Okay.
AK, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, boys. Be good.
That's Andy KENDEIGH from KETV. Good stuff there from AK as always.
The volleyball team stacked.
Yeah, we do have a little breaking news here.
Oh, breaking news.
I don't know why you went Eastern European.
I don't know. That's just it's the thing.
Local-ish, but not Nebraska related. Kansas State head coach Chris Klieman is going to announce his retirement. And
excuse me,
Texas A&M offensive coordinator and former K-State quarterback and OC Colin Klein will be his replacement.
Excuse me?
So there you go.
Klieman is just retiring?
He's retiring.
He's not that old, is he?
No, I think he's in his 50s still.
I am old.
Well, we know you are, Shane.
Chris Klieman is
59.
Yes.
Is that right?
I don't know.
I thought you were going to look it up.
58.
Oh, shoot. So, yeah, I mean, that's not that old. Maybe this was a...
Maybe he's going into some type of... I hope everything is okay.
Yeah, hopefully it's not a health issue.
Maybe he's going into some type of administration role.
But yeah, maybe he'll move into like a GM or
I hope that's what it is.
Assistant AD
I hope he's just
role.
like, I have somewhere that I've always wanted to do and I can make more money or something.
Or maybe maybe he'll help Colin Klein.
Yeah.
Kind of in the transition process here. You never know. But
that is true, Amazing Daniel. If I was 58 and could retire, I would also.
They're also a little bit of a down year this year.
Yeah.
At 6-6.
Well, maybe Avery Johnson should have been better.
Maybe Avery Johnson will be back next year. I don't know.
Ooh.
Just Not that I've heard anything.
Careful.
Not that
Stop it.
anyone has said anything to me about Avery Johnson specifically not being at K-State.
Ooh. AJ, I can call him that because I'm here.
Utah. What?
Austin Jacobson is correct. Couple of in-state kids that are at K-State. Portal watch.
Portaling? Going portaling?
How do you make a portal noise?
I don't know.
Freaking bats.
There it is.
It is not
It's
freaking bats. It is,
I love Halloween.
could we get a
I smell like beef.
I smell like beef. Yeah, we need to get a portal watch noise.
Yeah. I need portal noises. Shane.
No?
Yeah, I can do it here. I got it for you.
Okay.
I smell like beef.
That's exactly what a portal sounds like. As soon as you step through it.
Travis says Avery Johnson will be better with Colin Klein back. Maybe that will make Avery Johnson stay. Maybe.
You need to stop.
What?
Nothing.
Well, maybe.
I mean, maybe.
I don't think Lenore Sellers ends up at South Carolina next year either. I'm just whatever.
Can you stop?
I hear some things.
Lenore Sellers to Nebraska?
No. Probably Miami.
Why is Miami? Miami is living off of portal quarterbacks.
Yeah. Cashing those checks, man.
Honestly, wouldn't be a bad position to just like constantly portal in. Just 1 year rentals a quarterback every year?
Yeah, I mean, I think ideally you'd get guys that are maybe you get 2 years out of them. But if you think about it, if you're developing a quarterback, you're probably looking at 2 good years out of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like let's say you get a 5-star. We know from track records, true freshman year, whether they play or not is not going to be their peak.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hoping, hey, I get really good sophomore, junior years, then they go to the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can get 2 years out of a quarterback from the transfer portal, I think you'd be thrilled.
It's pretty solid.
I think you'd be thrilled to death. That's what, Christopher says, for someone 4 years away from actually retiring, I would love to retire sooner.
Travis is right. It's always the Ireland curse.
You got to watch out. You got to watch out for the Ireland curse.
Who plays in Ireland next year?
I don't know. Not Nebraska. That's all we need to know.
I don't know.
You don't know? Shane.
I don't know.
I expect
I don't know.
I expect you to
doesn't
know
know.
these things.
Leave him
My bad. My bad.
He doesn't know.
So that's the breaking news out
Okay,
of.
so August 29th, 2026, TCU UNC.
Oh, well, I think Bill Belichick's already cursed. It's the curse of Jordan Hudson.
TCU?
TCU might get cursed. TCU might get cursed.
Remember when TCU was in the national championship game? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Austin, I haven't seen the Bud Crawford news yet. You want to fill us in, Bud?
Yeah, what happened?
You're not.
Give us a call.
Yeah, or just
I
tell
don't
us.
know what the number is.
I don't see Bud Crawford news yet. Come on, man. I'm not going to like it. Is he retiring?
No. Terrence Crawford stripped a super middleweight belt.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't
don't know. I'm just reading the headline.
I need answers.
Bud Crawford stripped of his belt. 81 days after his win, he was stripped due to his failure to pay sanctioning fees for his past 2 fights against Alvarez and Israel Madrimov.
Oh, I don't care.
So he didn't pay. I don't know what a sanctioning fee is, but he didn't pay, so he took his belt.
Okay, that's fine. I don't care. I saw the win. I saw him beat Canelo. That's all. Doesn't.
But
matter.
he didn't pay for it, so it didn't the belt, so it didn't count.
Oh, he won it still. He just is no longer the reigning champion.
Oh, he didn't win it.
No, that's not what that means. Stripping him of his belt and
vacated.
That's a different thing.
Not a loss, not a win, not a tie. Just gone.
Stripped the titles and vacating the titles
They took
are
the number away.
not the same thing. Yeah, boxing, as Daniel is intimating, is run very, very stupidly. If you think college football is bad, I just take a deep dive into how boxing is run. It is the stupidest thing ever. Like, it is a mess.
Yeah.
Idiotic, but it's fine.
What it is.
As long as it wasn't some weird thing where they're trying to take the win away, because I saw it.
Yeah.
Everybody saw it. Canelo got his head beat in.
Robbie, can I tell you that a 10-2 Nebraska team wouldn't make the playoff?
Robbie?
Depends on the year. Depends on the 2.
Uh-huh.
I saw this argument happening in the chat.
The chat's been going wild with it.
Yeah, so this specific year, if Nebraska had gone 10-2 with this schedule, let's say their losses are to Michigan and USC, the 2 ranked teams that they played.
Sure.
They probably would not be in.
No. They would
There's several 10-2 SEC teams with ranked wins. Now, we can get into the Ponzi scheme of what those ranked wins actually were if you'd like to.
Were they actually ranked or not?
But the fact of the matter is, because the SEC has only played, yes, I did predict 10-2, Captain. I said SC and Penn State would be the losses.
Because so Nebraska was close to top 25 or was about to be in the top 25 when they played Michigan, or they were?
They, I think, were that week.
Okay, so they were like 25th, right? They
Yeah.
lost, dropped out of the top 25. You beat Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern. Let's say you get back into the bottom half of the top 25, right?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll say that. Then you lose to USC. If those are your two losses.
Yeah, that's
you know what happens?
Mhm.
You drop back out of the top 25.
Yeah.
If all things are the same, you beat UCLA, bet down year for Penn State still.
Mhm.
We're keeping it all the same. You win that. You win against Iowa, who was also not ranked.
Yep,
Correct?
correct.
You're maybe back in the bottom half of the top 25. Guess what? Still not in the playoff, and you're not playing for a Big Ten title.
Here's the problem. Here's the other part of the problem with this equation is because the SEC isn't going till 9 conference games until next year, all of those 10-2 teams got a free win, basically.
Yes.
Right? So in future years, I think the chances of a 10-2 Nebraska or any other Big Ten team that finishes 4th getting in are much, much better.
Yeah.
Because there will be there will be less of a logjam in the SEC of teams that got out of having to play a real football game. So in general, I think a 10-2 4th place Nebraska team would get into a playoff.
In a normal year.
This year, because of the cluster in the SEC, depending on what the wins they were and where they started, to your point, I don't think they would have got in.
Yeah, in a normal year, Nebraska at 10-2, let's say 4th place in the Big Ten, should get into the playoff.
Or anyone else for that matter,
Yeah.
in that scenario.
But again, if Nebraska starts the year unranked,
That hurts their
and
case a lot.
depending on who they lose to and when they lose, it drops you in and out of the top 25.
Yeah.
And you could be, if you're 24th and 4th in the Big Ten, you don't make the college football playoff. It sucks.
This year, yes, I agree.
But that's just kind of how it happens.
In general, moving forward,
Yeah.
I think that team would get in.
I mean, Alabama's 10-2, and they're going to the SEC title game, and there are 3 11-1 teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
I don't know, but we're going to talk to Mitch Sherman from The Athletic coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I mean, that was a super fun experience just to be able to go down there, not have a ton of prep for that Virginia game, just be able to work together and get the win. It was super fun, amazing experience. Gives us a little taste of like Big Ten tournament with the back-to-back games and stuff like that, but I think we competed well down there and it was a lot of fun. Maybe a little bit. I mean, I think it's just being more aggressive and looking for my shots a little bit more, and I think my teammates are able to get me the ball in the right spots and situations to just make that happen. But yeah, just excited. I think she's playing with a lot of confidence this year, and that's super awesome to see. She's a really great player, really versatile, can play 4 or 5, guard anyone, and so I think she's become a really great leader for us too, and I think it's just super cool to see.
Speaking of Lexi Rodriguez, she's the all-time digs leader at Nebraska. Now, who did she pass?
She was a coach at, I can't remember where, what was it? Kayla Banworth?
Not Kayla Banworth, and she's an Olympian. Wong. Good job.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. She's an Olympian.
Jordan Larson.
Not quite Jordan.
I was going to say Jordan Larson.
Miss Wong.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, how are we doing this morning?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Oh, we're just trying to keep up with all the, transfer portal news, and apparently Brian Hartline's going to go coach USF, which is incredible.
Yes.
Another
non-Penn State hire.
Apparently Chris Klieman's retiring. A lot going on today, Mitch.
Chris Klieman's retiring? Man, I'm both of those pieces of news were breaking for me. So thank you, first of all, for that, Robbie. I can't even keep up with my timeline. I mean, it's got all this signing day stuff on it, and obviously, there's a lot of other things happening in the sport. Chris Klieman's retiring? What?
Yeah, and Colin
Colin Klein is taking over.
Immediately named.
Oh, yeah. Colin
Both
Klein.
of those happened in like the last 5 minutes, so don't feel
I
bad.
see that now. I see the report from On3 here. That's big news in our part of the world. So Colin Klein, the Texas A&M OC, is going to come back to his alma mater. That's a good hire for Kansas State, by the way. What that is like. That is that. Boy, how do I say this? Like, that is their Scott Frost hire. Like, that is the obvious hire.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that only in like the positive sense. It's the hire that they had to make. And I think and hope that it'll work out a lot better in Manhattan than Nebraska's former quarterback did in Lincoln.
I also do kind of wonder if there's another similarity in the Scott Frost situation there where, and listen, Klieman obviously was more successful there than Mike Riley was here, but maybe it expedited the change because they're like, hey, somebody else is going to hire this guy, and we don't want that to happen.
I suppose. I mean, if you're Nebraska in that situation, he was already a head coach, and you have really all the resources that you need. It wasn't going to come down to whether Nebraska could outbid somebody for Frost. It was going to be about his loyalty and wanting to do it. And I would suspect that it would end up being the same with Colin Klein. Like if he had gone to Kentucky because it had an opening this year and K-State stood pat, and then 2 years down the road, Chris Klieman decided to retire. I still think Colin Klein probably comes home for that, but strike while the iron's hot. And he's a hot coordinator for sure right now with the work that they've done with Marcel Reed and getting to the college football playoff. So we'll be interested to see if Klein is gonna coach the Aggies in the CFP.
It's kind of crazy timing for Colin Klein to retire on the first day of early National Signing Day,
or Chris
Klieman to retire on the first day of early Signing Day.
Like, it's better than doing it tomorrow when all your recruits are signed. That viewed as really shady. So I commend him for doing it today. So at least the recruits who were signing with Kansas State know before they put pen to paper. And if they have somebody else lined up, like, I'm sure that's going to be more smooth. But yeah, I mean, I guess he's of that age, and Klieman never struck me as a guy at Kansas State who was going to try to climb the ladder from there and move on to the Big Ten or something like that. So good for him. He's had a great career.
How much have you been following this Penn State saga in the recent days? Because it sounded like, and I mentioned this because, as I said earlier, Brian Hartline going to USF, it sounded like he was sort of a backup candidate at Penn State. Yeah. And it just seemed between him and like a Bob Chesney going to UCLA yesterday, it seems like even their backup candidates are just getting picked off their list one by one. And I'm just curious, like, if you're Penn State, Mitch, where do you go from here?
Yeah, you go to Terry Smith, I think. And look, do you want to be the 9th choice at Penn State? Do you want to go in there as an established head coach?
Sure.
And know that everyone else knows, recruits, portal, prospects, your opponents, your fans. Do you want them to all know that you were Pat Kraft's 10th guy? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. If you're Terry Smith, that's fine, because you've been the interim and you've been waiting in the wings, and obviously that wasn't the move that it was that Penn State intended to make at the beginning of this 53 days ago. But, sure, Manny Diaz, like, that name is still out there, I think, unless something's changed in the last 6 hours. Maybe that. But is that better than the guy who's got his feet on the ground there right now in the support of the players? Like, you're looking to salvage this at this point. And I look at what Ole Miss did in promoting Pete Golding right away when Kiffin left. And Ole Miss is in a different situation because it has to get ready for a college football playoff game in a couple of weeks. But it was looking for stability. It was looking for a way to minimize the drama, of which there was plenty with Lane's departure on its own. And if it doesn't work, if you promote the interim, promote the coordinator, and a year from now, it's painfully obvious, like, this guy wasn't ready, this isn't the direction that you need to go at Ole Miss or Penn State, then it's not going to be a big buyout, and you move on, and you, like, have your feet underneath you with a new start in a different coaching cycle. This is a tough one to be in, obviously, unless you're LSU. And, I would have said the same about Penn State, but it's turned out, it's totally gone sideways for Pat Kraft. So at this point, cut your losses and hire the guy who the people in the program want, and salvage something out of this situation. And you can be happy, and you can bring him out, and you can say, sometimes the best things come from unexpected places, whatever. Like, everybody knows that Kraft didn't intend to hire Terry Smith at the beginning of this, James Franklin's assistant, but at least they can put on a good, put on a good face and like, be honest with the fan base about the way that it worked out. So after Sataki would have been okay. That was kind of an outside the box thing, because I think a lot of people believe that he would never leave BYU, which ended up being the case.
Turns out true. Yeah.
Yeah. But you took a swing there. He's a good coach, clearly, and it didn't work. Like, the Mormon Church got involved, which was very bad for Penn State. And to me, that's got to be, that should have been the last like swing that they take from the outside. And now just hire Terry Smith.
In your opinion, do you think the struggles that Penn State has had trying to find a coach have more to do with coaches not loving the fact that a guy that was as successful as James Franklin got fired? Or do you buy into the Jimmy Sexton sabotage theory?
I wouldn't totally put it past him.
I wouldn't either. Or do you think there is another factor that I haven't considered?
I think the climate, the coaching cycle this year, and the number of jobs that came open after Penn State, maybe one or two before, but I don't know that Kraft realized the waters that he was diving into. And the fact that so when Steve Peterson had the 7-week search back in 2003-04, he had a big fish out there at the beginning that he had his eye on. And it was Mike Sherman from the Green Bay Packers. And as Max Olson and I, in a story a couple years ago at The Athletic, went back and looked at in depth, and Harvey Perlman divulged to us that
phenomenal story, by the way.
Yeah, it was Mike Sherman, the Packers guy. Well, Peterson needed Sherman to fall on his face in the month of December, and the Packers were kind of headed that way, and then they rebounded and made the playoff, and it went sideways, much like it has for Kraft. I think that guy for Kraft this year in this cycle was Kalen DeBoer. And you thought maybe Kalen DeBoer would be a phenomenal fit in the Big Ten. I don't disagree with that.
Yep.
And that Alabama, after losing to Florida State to open the season, wasn't going to have enough juice this year to make the college football playoff. And that still may be the case, as we saw in the CFP rankings on Tuesday night, if Bama loses to Georgia. But I think the ship has now sailed on DeBoer bolting for State College. If it had been a couple of weeks ago and Alabama had suffered a third loss in the regular season, then I think the time might have been right for him to just jump after the Auburn game, or make the decision before the Auburn game. But now I can't. That'd be pretty surprising if he goes to the SEC championship, loses to Georgia, gets left out of the playoff, and gets pushed aside and ends up falling in Penn State's lap. I think the window is closed there.
Mitch, as you kind of look at Nebraska's situation with the open defensive coordinator spot, I'm always fascinated how people sort of process what they want from these hires. Are you someone that looks at, hey, I'd like to see either this resume or these characteristics from a new DC, or do you start with, this is a list of names I like for a possible DC, or either?
Well, if there was a name out there that Matt Rhule had his eye on before, and when he went into the conversation on Monday morning with John Butler, and part of the reason that he was motivated to do that was because he thought there was an immediate upgrade, and he had his mind on somebody, much like what we're talking about here with the head coaching stuff, for whether it's Steve Peterson and Mike Sherman or Pat Kraft and Kalen DeBoer. If Rhule had that guy and he thought he was attainable, then it's about the name. It's about a list. Otherwise, it's about a resume. It's about having Big Ten experience. I think that's important. It's about being someone who is adept at coaching a defense that is strong up front. Like that, Nebraska got into a situation this year where all of its experience in leadership on defense was more aligned with strong secondary play. That was Butler's level of place of expertise. That's where Addison Williams, who is the next most experienced full-time coach aside from Phil Snow on the defensive staff. That's where his experience is. He's been a coordinator, but ultimately he's at his core, he's a secondary coach. And same with Snow. Like that's where he came up in the business. So you've left the front seven or six of your defense in the hands of young coaches, and they're probably going to be good coaches someday. And I'm talking about, and I think Rob Dvorak already is a good coach, but along with Phil Simpson and Terry Braden, were they ready to have the kind of sway, have the kind of importance that they did in building this defense to be something that could play November football in the Big Ten? And I think the answer turned out to be no. So on the resume of the next defensive coordinator, I think has to be, you have proven it, that you can be a physical run-stopping defense that's set up to get it done in November in the Big Ten.
Mitch, as you kind of look at how the season ended for Nebraska, obviously the losses to Penn State and Iowa in ways that nobody really enjoyed, except for Penn State and Iowa, I guess.
All of their fans.
Yeah, I think their fan bases enjoyed those quite a bit. But how differently do you feel going into the offseason now than you thought you would, let's say, prior to the Penn State game?
Oh, prior to the Penn State game, I think there were concerns about what was going to happen in these last two games because of the offensive styles that both teams employed, and Nebraska's inexperience at quarterback and after the injury to Dylan Raiola. I thought it was a distinct possibility that Nebraska would go 0-2. But part of me said, they'll find a way. Like, this is a team here in 2025 with a 7-3 record that has played pretty well in close games and made some games close, at least one game close that didn't really look like it should have been a close game. I'm talking about Michigan. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to split these last two, and then 8-4 going into bowl season with a chance to win 9 games, maybe going to Florida for a bowl game. Like, that's going to feel really good for the Nebraska fan base, especially knowing how close it was to beating USC and I think that would have happened if Raiola had stayed healthy. That to me was the most likely scenario 2 weeks ago that it would be 8-4 and feeling pretty good right now about the fight that it put up for 12 games. So obviously that's not what happened. You gave up 77 points in those 2 losses. They were decisive and they gutted Nebraska. Like, I think they have taken the vibe around this program that existed on November 20th and completely flipped it, or at least from the outside perspective, completely flipped it to the point where like they're teetering at this moment on a dark beginning to the offseason.
What could or would make you feel better about the offseason? Like, what is it? A certain defensive coordinator hire? Is it transfer portal haul? Like, what would make Mitch feel better about how the offseason's going?
This is a little silly and probably short-sighted, but start with winning the bowl game. Get to 8 wins, point to that. Say 7 last year, 8 this year. Back-to-back bowl victories. Like, it means something. Nebraska's going to play a decent team in a bowl game. Like, show that you have that you've got more fight than what we saw in the last 2 games of the regular season. I think that one thing that a bowl game can indicate is like just the morale and I talked about the vibe. Like, it can indicate where that's at in the program. And that matters going into the more important part of the offseason, which is the transfer portal haul. So I feel good about Nebraska this offseason if it hires a defensive coordinator. It doesn't have to be a name brand defensive coordinator. It doesn't have to be somebody who it doesn't have to be Justin Wilcox from Cal. As long as it's somebody who has done it at a high level of college football, and I'm confident can build a defense that starts up front, then that would be a boost for how I feel about the program in the offseason. And then the personnel, is the most important thing. What does Nebraska do in retaining its talent? Emmett Johnson's decision is going to factor in how I feel about the offseason. Dylan Raiola, in his potential return or departure is going to factor in how I feel about it. And then also, can Nebraska go out, add defensive linemen, like a big guy in the middle of that defensive line in the portal next month? Can they fix the situation at offensive tackle? You won't know if it's fixed until September, but can they give the appearance that they've really addressed that situation at offensive tackle? All of those things together. I don't know that there's one that's probably the one that's more important than any is building up the line of scrimmage through the portal.
That was going to be my question to you, is in the portal, what positions are you expecting or wanting Nebraska to take a long, hard look at and bring in those transfer guys? And you just said defensive line and offensive.
D-line.
Yeah.
D-line first, offensive tackle after that. I mean, I assume Elijah Pritchett is back with Nebraska next year, although we don't know that either. Maybe he feels like he got his year here and he maxed out and he's going to go to the NFL. I don't know how that would look in the draft at this point. Probably not great for him, although he would test well. You never know. He could benefit from another year for sure, and that would help if you don't have. I will say 2, and I understand Nebraska has Gunnar Gatula at tackle too. Like I think he can be an NFL guy. Gunnar can if you think about maybe moving him inside. At tackle, I don't know that the future is there like that. So they got to get that. They got to get that shored up. Whether that includes bringing back Pritchett, they got to get that offensive tackle thing shored up, because whoever's playing quarterback for you next year, can't face the same kind of heat off the edges that Raiola saw against the likes of Michigan and Minnesota.
Outside of offensive and defensive line, which I think is the most logical place to start, is there a position that you look at and you go, yeah, I'd kind of like an upgrade there as well? Because there's one that pops to the top of my mind. I'm curious how you think about it.
I mean, I think you can look anywhere because of what Nebraska brings back and the losses that it's going to incur or likely to incur. I mean, we know Sierra Wright's gone, and that's a huge hole to fill at corner. Even though he was playing nickel for the most of the season, he's still in man-to-man coverage. So you got to, and maybe those guys are in the program. Maybe those corners are in the program right now and can step up. I think they feel good about some of the young corners, and we know Donovan Jones is a player, and Andrew Marshall's back. So it's not that pass rusher. I kind of include that with the defensive line. I think Williams Nwaneri will continue to get better in this program, but he shouldn't have played. He shouldn't have been asked to do as much as he did this year. So just going through this as I talk through this answer, I might even look at wide receiver. And Nebraska was good there, not great, but good there this year. But Dane Key is going to leave. And then I also think that Ja'Cory Barney and Isaiah Hunter have decisions to make. Isaiah Hunter's draft eligible right now as a third-year sophomore. I expect him to be back, but that's got to happen. And I expect Barney to be back, but he's always the guy that Matt Rhule uses as the example of, you better believe that people are knocking on his door. And it's going to happen again this offseason. And I think Ja'Cory can look at the production that he put up in the second half of this season and say, can I do better somewhere else? Like, I'm not trying to plant that seed. Like, it's obviously already out there. Expect that he'll be back. But if, depending on what happens at wide receiver, they might have, they will have some spots to fill. But I'd also look at tight end. Like, it's all over. Like, I'd look at tight end. Lindenmeyer's back, but Harburg's gone. Carter Nelson's back. Like, what's his future in the program? Like, I think you can make a case for just about anywhere on the rosters. What were you thinking, Ravi?
I think the one position you didn't say, linebacker.
Okay.
I would have, a lot of that goes into, you mentioned front seven and stuff, and a lot of that goes into what the defensive line looks like, right? They can make linebackers look really bad or really good, but
I feel good about Vincent Shavers. I feel good about Dawson Merritt. And I think Christian Jones is a guy who will have a second year surge. So, but yeah, I mean, they do need linebackers.
Willis McGahee, the fourth, also there, redshirted this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I expected more from him this season. I think there was an injury situation involved, but the jury's out for me. Like, I don't know that I'm not like counting on him to be a difference maker until he shows that he's returned to that late freshman season form.
If EJ does decide to go to the NFL, do you like what they have in the running back room? Do you think they like what they have in the running back room enough to not go portaling? I mean, if there's a good running back in the portal, you're obviously going to take a swing, but is that something that you would expect them to do if EJ decides to?
Yeah. I think they may go to the portal either way. Even if EJ comes back to look at somebody like the back they missed out on in Marty Brown, who went to Miami, like somebody who can share the load with him. It's nice that Emmett can withstand 25 to 30 carries a game, but what kind of could he be better if it was 18 to 22, even more effective? I mean, he might not put up 1,500 yards, which is what it's going to be after the bowl game if he plays in the bowl game. But and if he's back, then obviously he is playing in the bowl game. So I think they go to the portal either way, whether Emmett is back or not. And if he is departing for the NFL, then it's right up there with the offensive and defensive lines, or defensive and offensive lines in that order in terms of a priority. Like, you have Jamal Rhule coming in, who signed today. You're a year away from Amir Brown, who's highly regarded. So that doesn't factor. You're talking about Mekhi Nelson and Isaiah Mosey, if that's the position that he stays at, and Quentin Ives, Connor Booth is there, Jamarian Parker. Like, they didn't factor as true freshmen this year. So yeah, you need somebody proven. You need to go get a running back in the portal if Emmett's gone, who you can lean on.
That is Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, appreciate the time as always, and hopefully by the next time we talk to you, we'll have at least some answers to some of these questions.
Answers are going to continue to come, good or bad.
That's what I think people forget, is bad answers are technically still answers.
I don't like
them. Mitch, we appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.
That is Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Coming up next, we're going to talk to Robin WASHUT from Husker Online. Get a little college hoops talk, a little Nebraska basketball talk. Might bring up Rick Mast.
Will you?
Probably. He's
Connor Essegian?
Pretty good. Yeah, I will talk about Connor Essegian. I'm curious how he thinks
Price Sanford?
The loss of Connor Essegian impacts the ceiling on this team.
Sam Hoiberg?
Off to their best start in almost 50 years.
Pretty good.
And we'll see what he thinks about the matchup against that other team up the road.
Will Rink Mass get another triple-double this season?
Ooh, interesting question. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. We're talking to Robin WASHUT coming up next here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I think that feels good. I mean, that's something that really matters to us. We put a lot of thought into trying to build our non-conference schedule in such a manner that we can really have that standard that metric stand out, I guess, as a part of our resume. And ultimately, this team is hungry and eager to be in the postseason, but not just to be in the postseason, but advancing there. And so everything matters. Every game matters. I think the focus for our team is just one game at a time and what needs to happen today in practice to help us be the best team we're capable of. But just really good that everything's kind of coming together for us to be a top 15 team in the net, and hopefully that people will take notice of that, and that will start being talked about as a team that could potentially host in the NCAA tournament.
Imagine your first dream home and the feeling of walking inside for the first time. With Centrist Federal Credit Union's First Time Home Buyers program, you are at the doorstep of bringing your vision to life. Welcome home. From your neighborhood mortgage experts, Centrist Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You go through a lot of emotions because, of course, spent 8 years there, still love everybody associated with that program. And to watch them have some awesome wins was really great. And then to see some players that, hadn't played a lot have to step up and deliver, I think was really, really satisfying. So, of course, I still want them to be great. That's why the bummer about having them in our bracket is we both can't be in Kansas City. So, but no, I mean, they're a really great team, and I think there's no doubt that they were going to have a great season. They should be very proud, and it's just I'm proud of them. So hope they can make a deep run, sort of deep.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Robin WASHUT of Husker Online. Robin, what's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, not too much. Long time no talk. How you been?
Doing all right. Staying busy. It's the tail end of football, basketball crossover season, so things are steadily starting to slow down a little bit, but also ramping up on the hoops end. So always something to talk about.
Well, as it ramps up on the hoops end, I want to start with the 8-0 start for Nebraska, their best start in almost 50 years. As you look at this Nebraska team, A, did you expect them to start off this hot? And B, has it changed what you feel about their ceiling this year?
I thought they would have a chance, especially with the way they scheduled to stockpile some wins. They did themselves kind of the usual plan of setting up opportunities to, some early bye games, build momentum, get some continuity, and then kind of gradually testing themselves more and more. They went and played Oklahoma in Sioux Falls, and technically that's a neutral site game, but it was really anything but. So, they were able to maximize on that opportunity to play in front of a home crowd against for their first high major opponent. And I think the way that they won that game kind of propelled them going down to Kansas City, where, it was a similar situation, maybe not quite the fan base advantage, but, they were able to kind of build on that Oklahoma game. And then I think that stretch really kind of set up to where they are now, to where, they faced some early season adversity, in a kind of a variety of forms. And, it wasn't always pretty, but to their credit, kind of found ways to win, each and every. And so I think that's kind of built their confidence, and, they've been able to navigate the non-con thus far to get to this point. But, starting Sunday and then on into next week with those first two Big Ten games, that's the next step to where, they've been able to do what they hope to do thus far, but the challenge only continues to get increasingly difficult, starting with a big time rivalry game that I know that they're like the Ken Pom projects them to win it, but kind of all bets are off in this series. There's been plenty of instances where the team that's supposed to win doesn't. So this will be the next thing where they got to handle expectations. People are expecting them to win a heated rivalry game. How do they handle that? Do they go out and take care of business, or do they, have some challenges with another slow start and find themselves in a bit of a situation? So kind of a gradual learning process with this team. Long story short, they've done what they'd hoped to do thus far, but it's only going to get more difficult from here.
You talk about it getting more difficult and the next challenge and all that, but next man up, Connor Essegian's lost for the season. What's that look like for Nebraska in terms of lineups and who might be taking his spot in the rotation?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to add much more to the rotation. I think if anything, you'll see Kendall Blue play a little bit more. He only played like 9 minutes or so against USC Upstate. So, I mean, like his role kind of is what it is. I think the real answer is guys that were already in the rotation are just going to play more. Cale Jacobson's going to see a much bigger role. Braden Frager is going to play, even more than he already was in his first season here. So I think that's it's going to be a collective effort where just your core group that was already kind of your primary rotation is just going to have to take on a bigger workload. So losing Connor, I mean, he was struggling. I think he was only shooting 28 something % from three on the season. So, he's kind of getting off to a slow start, but he's still one of your best 3-point shooting threats. And then his leadership on the court, I think that's going to be as hard to replace as anything. So it's a disappointing loss, takes away another weapon from Nebraska's rotation. And it's going to be, like I said, kind of an all hands on deck to fill that void, where I don't know if they're just going to add a guy to replace his role. It's going to be kind of up to several guys to step up and kind of take up more of that workload that he leaves behind.
Robin, obviously this team's a mix of guys we're familiar with that are coming back from last year and guys that are brought in new, and one that is both coming back and sort of new in Jamarcus Lawrence. Who is better than you thought they were going to be this year?
Sam Hoiberg. Sam Hoiberg is arguably the most important player on that roster right now. Because like you knew Rink was going to be the best player. You knew Price was going to be their best transfer. But how critical Sam Hoiberg has been, I think everybody just kind of looked at him as a depth piece. But he's, from a production standpoint, done as much as maybe anybody else on the roster. He's one of their best rebounders. He's the best perimeter defender. He's scoring at a higher rate than ever before in his career. You go back to that Kansas City, his attack to the rim was kind of the difference late in that game, and he won them the Kansas State game. So, you're seeing an evolution, so to speak, of his offensive confidence, where he's not just a guy they put out there to play tough defense. Like he's giving them production on the other end. And I think that's been kind of a revelation, so to speak, because I think a lot of people are wondering, like, well, is this just nepotism? Why is he even in the starting lineup? Some 6-foot guy that can't shoot. Well, he's become one of the best glue guys in the Big Ten Conference, and I think that kind of has caught a lot of people by surprise. Like I knew Sam was going to be an important piece of the rotation because of his defense, like always, but how productive he's been with. Obviously his defense, but the scoring, he's dishing out a ton of assists. He's taking care of the basketball, and he's just being able to be kind of a complete player, more so than I think anybody expected at this point.
When you look at a guy like Braden Frager, what was your expectation of him coming into this year versus what's your expectation now that we've seen, a quarter of the season sample size?
Well, I don't know if there was a hype train that was full steam ahead more than it was for Braden Frager all off season. Everybody that I talked to over the course of the summer and into fall workouts just raved about him, saying that this kid is going to be a fixture in the rotation, could potentially push for a starting job. And that's played out exactly as everybody predicted. So that his role thus far hasn't caught me by surprise, but I think what has been kind of fun to watch is seeing just his growth a little bit, as he's kind of learning on the fly a little bit with his first experiences in a lot of different situations. You're starting to see kind of what that picture could be long term. So his role right out of the gates has not been surprising, but I think you're starting to see him kind of grow up a little bit. And what I really like is, obviously he's got some games where, he's hitting some threes, but on a team that sometimes struggles to attack the basket, Braden, although he's the youngest guy on the floor, is oftentimes the most aggressive with the basketball in terms of just putting his head down, and he's got the body and the strength to absorb contact and kind of do things at the rim and in the paint that a lot of Nebraska's other perimeter guys just can't do physically. So he's got an important role on both ends. Go back to the last game against UC Upstate. Fred Hoiberg mentioned that his block shot kind of propelled Nebraska to get out of that funk that they were in when they had to come back and get that game under control. And so, like, he's doing it on offense, but I think his kind of effectiveness defensively has been just important, just because the conversation about how they're going to place Juwan Gary, Braden does a lot of things that Juwan Gary did. And so, as he continues to mature and build that confidence and kind of play up to his potential, that's going to be maybe one of the things to watch is, especially in Big Ten play, you need that kind of quote unquote dog out there. And Braden might be the most suited to be that Juwan Gary type dog in Big Ten play.
Robin, has your ceiling for this team changed?
Slightly. I still need to see it against Big Ten competition. Like, again, like their big wins, Oklahoma is, a decent, pretty good win, but again, they had the home court advantage. They, edged out Kansas State, who just lost by 20 to Bowling Green. So like, how good is that win going to look? So like they've done again what you'd hoped and almost would expect them to do if they were the type of team that they thought they were. But now, this is the week where expectations for the rest of the season might change one way or the other. If they go out and go 2-1 or even 3-0 over these next three, then I think all of a sudden you reevaluate a lot about what to expect come January. But well, what happens if they go over or go 1-2, then, and especially 0-2 in league play? Then all of a sudden you're like, oh boy, this Big Ten grind is going to be too much for them, and maybe people were right picking them toward the bottom of the conference. So there's a lot to be determined still. I had them. So in our Big Ten preseason media poll that the Indianapolis Star and Columbus Dispatch put on, I had them at 11th preseason, and that was like one of the highest projections. So, right now, I guess if you look at the net rankings, they're somewhere in that 8 to 9 range. So they're a little bit ahead of what I predicted, but again, there's still so much season left and so many more kind of turning point challenges ahead on the schedule that I'm still going to stick with my prediction. I think that they have an absolute chance to finish in the top half of the league, but they got some work to do yet to solidify that.
So you mentioned this upcoming week. It's Creighton at home, Wisconsin at home, Illinois on the road from Sunday to next Saturday. If you had to rank in order the priority of those wins, how would you do that?
Normally you would say that your Big Ten games are going to carry more value, but I just put so much on that Creighton series, just in terms of the morale and not only from the team, but from the fan base. Like, people can get so discouraged or encouraged one way or the other based off that game. And so, if you go and beat Creighton at home, then, all of a sudden you're going to have a Wednesday night raucous crowd for that Wisconsin opener that's going to make that a much more intimidating environment. So I probably go Creighton 1, just because of what that game means, not just for, the context of this season, but, the annual weight that it carries. And then Wisconsin, I'll put 2, and Illinois 3, just because winning at Illinois is a daunting challenge. And if, it's kind of one of those where you just try to keep it competitive, and if you can find a way to steal a win, great. But if you lose it, it's not going to hurt you that much. But games at home are always more important. You got to defend your home court. Nebraska was not nearly good enough at that last year. And so, with the rivalry aspect, I'll give the edge to Creighton. And then Wisconsin being the Big Ten home opener, that's 2. And then, the Illinois game is one of those that if you get it, great. If not, then oh well.
Robin, as you look forward to Big Ten play, if I gave you one guy that you could have, let's say, elevate his game to whatever you consider the next level, who on this roster are you giving that magic pill to?
Berke. Berke is their best post defender. He does so many things that impact Nebraska on that end of the floor. But if they could get just anything out of him offensively, especially with his shooting, I think he's missed his last 10 3-pointers. Like, he's a better shooter than that. I've seen it myself. Like, he's not like his stats make him look like he's the worst shooter of all time. I don't know what's going on and what the disconnect is between practices and games, but if he could find any semblance of a 3-point shot and become more of a weapon offensively, then suddenly Nebraska's got something cooking, because then that 2-big lineup with him and Rink, that's really difficult for teams to defend. When you got 2 6'10", 6'11" guys that can beat you from the 3 or in the paint, there's not a lot of teams that can match up with that. Right now, he's really not bringing much of anything to the table offensively, and if he could find a way to flip that switch and become even a marginal asset as a scorer, that could do wonders for Nebraska's lineup. So, especially in Big Ten play, where post depth is so important, getting more from Berke offensively, I think could be a separator for Nebraska.
I mean, you mentioned the man himself, Rink Mast. I mean, his beginning to this season, this 8-game stretch has been astronomical. He's shooting over, 50% from the field. He's hitting 43% from 3. He's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, I understand that his loss last year was huge and how important he was to the team, but this is this kind of something that, I mean, maybe not this exact start, but this is what you kind of expected Rink to be for this team?
Yeah, I think he had that potential. I had him as a preseason all-conference pick. You pick like 10 guys, So like it's, pick whatever team you want him on. But I think he had potential second team all Big Ten ability because he showed it 2 years ago when he was healthy as a third team all conference pick. And pair that with how Nebraska constructed this roster around him. Like the whole goal going into this offseason was to surround Rink Mass with as many offensive weapons and particularly shooters to get the type of spacing that Fred wants to truly run his offense. And so this whole operation was centered around Rink Mast. And him playing at this level has really been probably the biggest key to Nebraska's success. You go back to the Winthrop game, like they probably lose without Rink Mast. And like there's been plenty of instances where it goes Sioux Falls, Oklahoma, like some of the threes that he hit, they've changed the course of this season thus far. And so Rink's been everything and more that Nebraska hoped and thought that he could be, and he's got to keep that up. Like he is going to be the ultimate X factor for how good this season is for Nebraska. When he plays well, Nebraska's good and is going to have a chance to win. When he struggles, that he's the most difficult player on the roster to replace. That type of production. So it's a great start for him thus far, and how long and how much he's able to keep that going into kind of this next degree of difficulty on the schedule will ultimately define just kind of what the season is for Nebraska.
That is Robin WASHUT from Husker Online. Robin, appreciate the time and enjoy the game on Sunday.
Sounds good. Always look forward to it.
Appreciate it. That is Robin WASHUT from Husker Online. Good stuff there from Robin as we get ready for hoop season to kind of replace, that hole in our hearts from football now that the regular season's over.
The greatness of volleyball, the great start for men's and women's basketball, Nebraska-wise,
also undefeated
at least, is doing a lot of heavy lifting for the final two games with the football team.
Yeah, they sure are.
Those three teams are just like, hey, volleyball's been doing it all fall.
Yes.
So they're just like, hey, also, here's coach of the year, setter of the year, player of the year.
Be honest, volleyball's been doing it for like a decade.
Yeah, you're right.
They've been carrying the weight.
Look, if you want to be sad about that, go ahead and be sad about that.
It is kind of refreshing to have other things. I mean, and it's been going on for a little bit here, but other things like press conferences from the different coaches and stuff like that to kind of get us back into that. So it's been refreshing.
It has. And if you're not paying attention to the Nebraska women's basketball team, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Britt Prince has 2 30-point games already.
Also undefeated.
She's on fire.
Very good.
Jessica Petrie, the Australian, down in the middle. I argue, I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it till the end of time, best footwork on the women's team I'd put her footwork up against some of the men as well.
Yeah?
She's got great footwork.
We're big.
She's a menace in the paint.
We're big Coach Williams fans here on the show.
Yes.
We love Amy Williams. Terrific coach.
She's fantastic.
Terrific.
She's hilarious, too.
Let's take a quick break before we wrap up the show here. And I got to tell you about our friends over at Centris. It's time to stuff your savings with Centris Federal Credit Union. From saving accounts and money markets to the unique certificate and savings account bundle, Centris has all the trimmings for a hearty financial feast. Plus, they also have that Centris Roundup program where saving can be as easy as using your Centris Visa debit card. Go check it out. CentrisFCU.org. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. We will be right back to wrap up the show here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, that was a super fun experience just to be able to go down there, not have a ton of prep for that Virginia game, just be able to work together and get the win. It was super fun, amazing experience. Gives us a little taste of like Big Ten tournament with the back-to-back games and stuff like that, but I think we competed well down there and it was a lot of fun. Maybe a little bit. I think it's just being more aggressive and looking for my shots a little bit more, and I think my teammates are able to get me the ball in the right spots and situations to just make that happen. But yeah, just excited. I think she's playing with a lot of confidence this year, and that's super awesome to see. She's a really great player, really versatile, can play 4 or 5, guard anyone, and so I think she's become a really great leader for us too, and I think it's just super cool to see.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
You know, we played the #1 rebounding team in the country as far as rebounding margin in our last ball game, and we out-rebounded them by 8. So it may seem like, well, golly, why are you complaining about rebounding? But we still have plenty of clips and film where, we have one player that maybe just missed their, box out responsibility, or, it's something that we know to be as good as we want to be in the Big Ten Conference. We have to be one of the best rebounding teams, and we have to take care of business. We have to be the most disciplined team in that regard, and so that's something we want to continue to get better at.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's Rico. I'm Ravi here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Don't forget, you can always come here to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, where every weekend you can get 75-cent wings on Saturday and Sunday. It's a great deal and a great place to watch all the games. You do have conference championship games coming up this weekend. You got Creighton, Nebraska on Sunday. Maybe you should hang out here all weekend, get some 75-cent wings,
I would say you have volleyball, but you have to go to ESPN Plus for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, I believe we still should have those, though. I believe they
ESPN Plus is dumb.
believe they hook it up on ESPN Plus here because they got you covered.
It's so dumb. Grow the game.
Grow the game. Well, listen, the championship will be on network television, ABC. That's good.
That's great.
As Andy mentioned, the regional final the week before also will be on ABC.
Yep.
We love that. We were talking about the playoffs in the chat earlier. And with the second to last rankings of the College Football Playoff Committee coming out last night, Duke has an opportunity to really screw the ACC.
To do the funniest thing
imaginable. So if Duke wins, Duke is 7-5, and because of the stupid ACC tiebreakers and their conference schedule,
ridiculous,
they are in the conference championship. And if they win, there are 3 group of 5 teams above them. JMU
can't wait
is above them. If they win their conference title, they would stay above them. And by above them, I mean these 3 teams are ranked and Duke is not.
Yes.
So that is by definition above them.
Duke is 7-5 overall, 6-2 in the ACC. They won the right games.
Yes.
That's all it came down
to. And then the North Texas and Tulane, both ranked in the College Football Playoff Committee rankings. They play each other for their conference championship, and the winner then will obviously still stay above Duke. If Duke wins the ACC, I think the ACC gets shut out of the College Football Playoff. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think it will happen, and you'll have 2 group of 5 teams in.
So do they still? I keep forgetting do they take the automatic conference champion, or is it just the highest ranked conference champions?
It is the 5 highest ranked conference champions.
Got it.
There would be 2 group of 5 champions ranked higher than the ACC champion. That would be your 5. It would be Big 10, Big 12, SEC, Big South, I think is where JMU is, and AAC for Tulane.
Or the Sun Belt.
Sun Belt. Yeah, not Big South. Sun Belt. And then
the
American Conference, which is the AAC for North Texas.
The ACC would get shut out because their next closest is Miami, and they are 12th.
Yes, and Miami would not get in as a conference champion.
So for the purposes of this
cannot get in as a conference champion.
For the purposes of this exercise, I'm just going to pick champions. I'm not going to say these are the people who will win. We'll just say Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech.
Those are
your 3.
Yeah, from Big 12, SEC, and then Big 10.
If Duke wins.
Yeah.
So Virginia would not. So that'd be your ACC.
Miami can't because they're
not in it.
Yeah.
Tulane, and then James Madison.
Because there are 5 ACC teams ranked.
Yes, but
Miami, Virginia, SMU, Pitt, and Georgia Tech. None of those teams, except for Virginia, are in the ACC Conference Championship.
That's disgusting.
So that
would be your 5.
Yes.
And then what is it? 12 teams, right?
Yes.
So then Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, maybe, unless they drop down, then it'd be
if
Notre
Alabama
Dame.
loses, I don't think they're a lock.
Okay, then Notre Dame, BYU.
Yeah.
If you're just going off of the rankings.
Notre Dame, BYU, maybe Notre Dame, Miami, in which case the ACC wouldn't get shut out, but they'd be an at-large and not the conference champion.
There's no way you take Miami over BYU.
I don't think they're going to put an at-large team in from a conference that they didn't put their conference champion in.
BYU is in the Big 12 championship game, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, so never mind. So I just said Texas Tech wouldn't, so BYU would drop down. So it'd be Notre Dame, Miami. There's a chance that Texas gets in.
Texas isn't getting in.
There's a chance.
Texas is not getting in.
If Alabama,
Texas is not
and
getting
BYU both drop, Miami, Texas.
They're not getting in. Notre Dame gets in over Texas.
Well, yeah, Notre Dame would stay in, but then there's one more spot left.
Yeah, it would be BYU.
No, because BYU's in the Big 12 championship game.
But they only have one loss.
But if they lose to Texas Tech, I understand. Okay, the wins and losses. No, the wins and losses thing, like, it matters.
Michigan,
but you need to understand. And
Michigan and Vanderbilt deserve to be in over Texas.
They deserve to be. But what's going to happen, and this is how with the wins and losses, they just take it. If you lose now, you drop. It doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Do you want to make a bet?
If BYU loses, they're going to drop.
Do you want to make a bet?
Sure.
I will bet you that if BYU loses, because that's the contingency we're talking about, right?
Yes.
If BYU loses, Texas does not make the college football playoff. What would you like to bet?
I don't know. Lunch? That's what we always do.
All right. Lunch bet. If BYU loses, Texas is still not what?
I have a better one.
What's that?
Loser has to shave their beard.
No. Too big. Too big.
Why?
Because I don't care that much.
But you feel very confident about
I
it.
do feel
don't
very
you?
confident.
Okay.
But
Robbie?
stakes versus how much I care don't make sense.
Why? It's just a beard.
No.
It's just a beard.
It'll grow back.
Yeah. Thanks, Shane.
Not doing it.
Hey, I'm not shaving my beard, so.
Yeah, what would we have to shave? No. Lunch only.
It's ridiculous.
Lunch only.
Soft.
You're the one that thinks Texas is getting in. They're not getting in.
I said they could.
They're not getting in. Texas is not getting in. There's no situation where Texas gets in.
You'd be surprised.
I won't be surprised.
Texas is a powerful player.
We'll talk to Adam McClintock on Friday. He has been the best at predicting these things in real time from week to week on these college football playoffs. So we'll talk to him prior to the conference championships, and he will tell you that you're wrong.
You're right. It'll be Miami.
Yeah, it'll be Miami.
Notre Dame, Miami.
It'd be really, really funny if a non-champion ACC team gets in. That'd be amusing.
It's going to be Miami.
I kind of need BYU to win, so Miami does get...
Again, that's if all of the higher seeded teams win.
Yeah.
What if you shaved your beard, but it doesn't have to be like, in the next week? It could be like in March or something.
Still no.
The SEC is going to get 4 teams in.
They're going to get 5. You forgot one.
No, I didn't.
A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Bama probably gets in still. I don't think they should.
But they have 3 losses. It'd be the same as Texas.
Most people think losing in the conference championship is not the same.
I know.
Also, Bama does. Listen, I agree. I don't think Bama should get in. If they lose, I don't think Bama should get in. Because they have a bad loss, just like Texas does. Florida State's a bad loss. Florida's a bad loss. And then you have the third loss with...
Problem is, if Alabama drops all the way out, then again, if these rankings hold, then Texas would be the next one up because it'd be Alabama drops down, Notre Dame's in because they're independent. If BYU loses and they stay in, then they're there. Then there's Miami. Or if BYU and Alabama lose, if they both drop out, then it's Miami, Texas.
I think the argument for BYU to be in is better, but
I think so too.
It's an SEC thing. That's never going to happen.
There's so many 11-1 teams.
A lot of 11-1 teams.
We need more losses in college football.
Well, thankfully, the SEC is going to be adults and finally play a 9-game conference schedule next year. So that should help solve a lot of this.
And Vanderbilt's going to be leading the charge with a 5-star quarterback.
And then Texas can complain about being a 4-loss team that's not in the college football playoff.
Losers.
That is the show for today. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. We will be back tomorrow. DB will be back and join us. And I'm sure we'll have plenty more to get into. So far, only one Nebraska transfer portal casualty. That is Cade Vermas. Only one that's been announced so far. We'll keep an eye on it. That's Rico. I'm Ravi. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.